Hey guys, welcome to the Tower of Babble, episode number 22. Probably the last episode we do before Christmas. The Christmas break, what's the date today? The 16th?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll probably won't do another one before Christmas because we're too busy. But other than that, got all three of us back together. Once again, I'm Julian.
I'm Dan.
I'm Jeremy.
And so we missed 2 weeks since the last time we did one, so we got lots to cover. But I gotta thank Epic Geekdom for throwing us up on their website for their podcast that they kind of push and they talk about. So that's good stuff. And I guess I haven't done this yet, and I probably should. But I get lots of our news from IGN. I should probably just credit them that almost all of our news comes from there. So I don't want to just sound like I'm just ripping off their stuff.
IGN and /film.
Yeah. And so Merry Christmas if we don't see you guys before then.
Merry Christmas.
Or, whatever non-denominational holiday you might be celebrating.
Hanukkah's over, so...
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't follow the Jewish faith, so I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, movies. And we'll talk about that later.
What later?
We'll talk about my movie experience today later.
I thought you were talking about, you meant the Jewish thing.
No. We'll talk about that off mic. I have some unresolved issues with those people.
That Hanukkah. 8 days? Come on. Pushing it. So Dan, you already had a problem with this first story that...
Yes, I did.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt is set to do Neil Gaiman's Sandman as a movie, obviously. And he'll probably be the lead character. He's also set to direct it with David Goyer on as producer, who also pitched the film. So you don't like that? You've been rereading.
I've read all of them. I've reread them recently, actually. I don't know. I have a hard time just seeing it being converted into a movie and capturing the essence of what makes them so great. Like, they're very... I don't know how to... They're hard to describe. They're very, existential. Like, you can't... It won't translate well. It's too high concept. It'll be visual and, it'll look cool, but, I don't know. It's a weird concept for a movie.
They're going to have to dumb it down a bit. Right?
Well, exactly, and that's going to kill it. Dumb it down... There's no what's the point?
But in those books, doesn't every DC hero show up at some point?
No, not really. They're not. It's more about Sandman than anybody else.
It was written as an image book to start, right?
Yeah, but a couple Batman's in it a couple times, but he's it's such a.
See, that stuff's not going to happen.
He doesn't even interact
with
Morpheus.
It's done with Goyer, and Goyer is obviously doing the Man of Steel stuff. So
I think the most prominent DC character that interacts with him is the superhero Sandman, Hector Hall, and then his wife Hippolyta. They're minor obscure DC characters, and then he wrote it so that his Sandman persona, the superhero persona, has to do with Morpheus and what happened to him.
And again, there's 10 books though, right? So it's going to be
more than one.
There's 10 books and a bunch of other little.
Or it could be one movie just streamlined to the very core.
They could not do that. There's no fucking way.
Well,
you also said there's no fucking way they could break The Hobbit up into 3 movies.
I didn't say there's no way they can do that. I said they shouldn't do that.
Or Watchmen into a movie as well.
Yeah. Well, again, those things probably...
Never say never when it comes to Hollywood stuff, Dave.
I would be very disappointed if they tried to make all 10 of those books into one movie. It's ridiculous.
Well, how many,
There's so many different stories.
Are they single issues? There's 10 single issues?
No.
Pages?
There's 10 trains.
There has to be a
10
core
trains.
story with the one character.
There isn't really. Well, there is. There's an arc, but it doesn't follow a standard story structure. It's not
there's movies that don't follow standard story structure. Have you ever seen Memento?
I'm just saying, if they're gonna make a first Sandman movie, they're gonna try to incorporate everything.
It's
that's
different though
because
he's not even a character. He's an entity. He's the embodiment.
Maybe they're gonna change him up. Who knows?
What's the point? Call it something else.
I was saying if those things can work, it's not. You can't tell me that it's impossible to do it.
It's not impossible, but it's impossible to capture the essence of the book.
So you weren't disappointed with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You were just disappointed that they're
yeah. No, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's awesome. I love him, and I haven't seen Don John, but you've been saying good things about it, and he's a good actor and everything. But I don't know. It's Sandman. I have my doubts initially.
Okay.
Well, I'll hold judgment till we see more, hear more about it.
You should just read the comics before before the movie comes out, because it'll ruin them for you.
I haven't. Well, I just bought the trade for Saga, so I want to read that. I told you about that last time we were talking.
Yeah, I have those.
And I really want to read them. Everyone talks about how great they are, so I really want to.
Is this still ongoing?
Yeah, it's still ongoing.
But it's only an issue 8 or something?
No. It's 19.
Okay.
It's further up there. But
I heard 1 to 8 is the best.
Some really good stuff, and I really want to read it, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
So what else have we got? James Cameron James Cameron. Everyone loves James Cameron. Talking about his new Avatar movies. So there's 3. We all know that he's doing 3 sequels, right? And so he said that, quote, "We spread it around quite a bit more as we go forward. It's really the story of his family, the family he creates on Pandora, his extended family. So think of it as family, like family saga, like The Godfather." And they're talking about the main character from the first one, who stayed behind.
Yeah.
I was going to say Sam Rockwell. It's not Sam. It's Sam
Whitmore.
It's not Sam Whitmore, and it's not Sam Rockwell.
Whitfield. I don't know whatever.
I don't know. I would have got it, but you guys ruined it by saying it.
But anyway,
Worthington.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But like, and we have more about who's in Terminator. We have more There's a whole bunch of Terminator news to talk about. So.
I don't know. I never.
I just think it's weird
in the first place cared about Avatar.
I just think it's weird that you would call it like a family saga, like, and then say like The Godfather. I feel like those movies couldn't be any more different. I mean, I know those are great movies, but like, and you want to, I don't know. And James Cameron makes good movies, so it's hard to argue with him. We'll see. Again, I mean, the first one made a lot of money, so like a lot. But it's got that weird thing where it's like it made so much money and everyone really liked it, but it hasn't really like stuck around in pop culture. People know about it, but it doesn't have you don't have people at like Comic-Con dressed up as
everybody knows what it is, but nobody's a diehard fan of it. Like
but once it comes back around, it's gonna be huge again. Like that movie was like thought of as the most anticipated movie of all time
for a while.
Well, he wanted to make that movie for like 25 years.
And the lead up to it was huge.
And he just didn't have the technology to make it, so when they finally did, then he made it. Like that's the idea that you have a movie in your mind that you can't even make because the technology doesn't exist is pretty crazy. Okay, so there's a couple new trailers that came up over the last 2 weeks. Just today or yesterday was the 22 Jump Street commercial trailer. Did you guys see that one?
No.
Do you guys remember the first 21
No,
Jump
I liked the first
Didn't
one.
watch it.
I liked it. I thought it was really funny.
I watched. I saw some clips. I didn't watch the whole thing.
So this one also looks really funny. Same cast, or like a lot, pretty much the two same main characters, Channing Tatum and
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, yeah. But first one, they're undercover cops in high school. Second one, undercover cops in college. Very similar story, but
it's called 22.
22. It's a pretty funny line in the trailer. He's like, "Well, the Koreans bought back the church, so we moved across the street to 22 Jump Street." And so there's a whole bunch of like callbacks to the first one, and it I'm excited for it. I really like the first one, so I mean, if it's half as good, it'll be good. What else did we see? There was the Interstellar. You just watched that for director Christopher Nolan.
Oh.
And is doing a space travel movie.
It's like it looks like it was very reminiscent of Contact for me, but that's also because I just watched Contact and Matthew McConaughey's in both. I do love that movie. Contact's a great movie.
You love aliens, though.
Yeah.
Well, you're all about aliens. If you would say, if I could say you're one thing you're all about, I would say you're all about aliens.
That's accurate. I don't even know what that really means. But.
No, I think it was like the way they used like that footage from like space exploration through
just human history.
Yeah, human history. It was really cool. I like that.
And Matthew McConaughey's smooth voice.
Just very, very silky.
Yeah.
I just listen to that
man. I'm telling you.
I can just listen to that voice. Just put me right to sleep. Every day. Okay. So Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, and The Edge of Tomorrow. Have you guys seen that one? Okay, so this one's kind of cool. We talked about before on the podcast. It used to be called All You Need Is Kill, and they changed the name to. What did I say it was called? It was Edge of Tomorrow, which is...
It's a better name change.
You think? I think All You Need Is Kill is a pretty sweet name.
Yeah.
It just probably doesn't sell as well as the harder thing. It's the same name as the book. It's based on a book, but the same book name is All You Need Is Kill. This idea is this guy, Tom Cruise in the movie, it's set in the future, and he keeps reliving the same day, kind of like Groundhog Day. But he's like learning new things over and over again, trying to prevent something from happening. It's kind of made unclear. Emily Blunt's in it. They have exoskeleton like fighting suits.
Oh yeah.
And oh yeah,
sold. Right.
No, I just remember seeing that image of him running away from an explosion.
And
wearing that suit. It looked hilarious.
And you're like, I know I love myself a Tom Cruise running from explosions, but I don't know if I can buy the exoskeleton. But anyway, the trailer actually looked made me want to see it. So that's more than I can say about just reading about the name.
How long is the trailer? It's like 2 minutes?
About a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. And Emily Blunt looks like badass, and people were saying that she would make, just like from the images of that, like a blonde and like a sweet like power suit, she would make a sweet Samus in a movie. I don't know. What has Emily Blunt done recently?
I don't know who that is.
No, I don't know. That's not
Wasn't she in that Bruce Willis movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Oh,
Looper. Wasn't she in Looper?
She was the mom of the kid? Yeah, it rings a bell. That was... Yeah, you never see someone see Looper. Man. That was that was an experience.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
No. Go watch it.
I'll watch it, I guess, but it just...
No, what do you mean, I guess? Like, you hear us talk about how great it is, and you're like, I
won't watch it enthusiastically.
I won't like it. So there's some Avengers stuff. Avengers 2 news. So HitFix has confirmed that Colonel James Rhodey has a key role in the conflict with Ultron. Quote, one thing you can count on is that at the end of the Avengers Age of Ultron, the group that calls themselves the Avengers isn't going to be the same group that we saw eating shawarma together at the end of the first film. So whatever that means. Do you think that we'll get like a it obviously means we'll get a roster change. Do you think that Rhodey takes over for Iron Man now that with what's his name leaving, not coming back till Avengers 3?
No.
No, I mean you're not gonna see the full Avengers, but you may have him take on that role. And he's been with I don't know. That's tough. If he has a bigger role, then maybe he die. Then
that's what I was kind of more thinking.
He does like to kill people. Yeah. Joss Whedon does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see him dying.
And as being like a
because
catalyst.
I also think like he's part of the government and everything, and Ultron will be like kind of hacking into all their systems, and he'd be vulnerable to that, whereas Iron Man might not be.
And is he going to be War Machine again, or is he still Iron Patriot?
Probably still Iron Patriot, I assume, because
that's so much cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much the exact same thing.
No, but
it's it's almost the exact same thing. It was just cool when they had like the suits part in Iron Man 3, and they just had them parked outside like motorcycles. Yeah. So what else were they talking about? So, okay, well that's actually about it for Avengers stuff. But there's more Marvel stuff. Lots of Marvel stuff, actually. Okay. So Disney wants to use the quote-unquote Marvel model for Star Wars. According to Disney CFO Jay Rasulo, you can quote substitute the word Marvel for Lucasfilm.
Sweet.
So, and we already talked about how they want to do like a Star Wars movie every single year. Like with the main ones being every second year, and like standalones that will tie in like a la Marvel style into a greater universe, which is sweet because there's so much stuff to do in the Star Wars universe.
It's largely untapped. It's been very focused.
Well, I mean, largely untapped on film.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
But I mean, I think all you need to do is like touch on some of those things that have been done in other mediums, and that have been done really well in those other mediums, and you can make really good stuff. Jeremy, not into that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just wanted, you haven't been speaking for a while.
No, we've talked about that before.
So a bunch of casting news. We'll come up to the big one in a second. Variety reports that Game of Thrones' Emilia Clarke has won the role for Sarah Connor in Terminator Genesis. Also, it's called Terminator Genesis. The next one. Zero Dark 30 actor Jason Clarke is reportedly in talks to play John Connor, taking over for Christian Bale. And now they're looking for
I don't
someone.
understand those castings at all.
So wait,
what are you talking about?
A reboot or what? Like,
it's a soft reboot. I think they
like
kind of
taking like Forgettable Salvation.
The girl from Game of Thrones is so young.
I mean, I think she can probably play an older.
What time period? It's in the future, right?
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they go back and they go read. They have to talk
Terminator,
to Sarah again.
Terminator is about time travel. You could literally.
There's no reason to go back to a younger Sarah Connor. They've already did it once.
Well, yeah. What are the Terminator rules too? Because if they go back, wouldn't it be the same?
Things change.
No, because the whole point is that they're changing the past.
The first movie,
the future,
they go into the past to kill her from.
Yes.
So she doesn't get pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah. So
but then
this actor
it
is
causes
younger.
it to get pregnant.
Which,
by the way, makes no sense. You think about it.
That's just
cool. You have to
have
someone has to come back from a pre-established future to
that's
come in and cause this pre-established future. It doesn't make
cool.
sense.
That happens in Looper too.
Yes.
the whole conflict is the reason why that kid becomes how he is.
Yes, but that's also why time travel doesn't work.
I know.
That's why it's fun as a sci-fi concept.
I know, that's just an aside. So you don't understand that casting it just
no,
that
because
one?
she's way younger than
What about Jason?
Sarah Connors, and then that guy,
Jason Clarke?
who's not really a main
Yeah, but it
he's
doesn't
like
have
a
to
B
be.
actor. I don't get that.
Have you seen Zero Dark Thirty?
Yeah, I like.
He's
I like
really
the
good
guy.
in that movie.
I just can't see him as John Connor.
And he just got another big role. I'm just trying to think of I can't remember what it was now. But he also got another big role just recently. So he's on the up and up. So I think by the time this movie comes out, people will know who he is, at least better than they do now. And then so now they're looking for Kyle Reese, someone to play the infamous Kyle Reese. Sources saying that it could be Garrett Hedlund, Tron Legacy, Nicholas Hoult from X-Men First Class, and Boyd Holbrook from The Host. I don't know who that last one is.
I do. I saw The Host.
How was that, by the way?
I'm not happy. Well, it was okay.
Actually, you know what? Best movie I've ever seen.
Well, like, I thought it would be worse than it was. It was by the same author as Twilight, right?
Yeah.
But it was okay. I don't know. Nothing special.
So
My girlfriend likes it.
You've seen all the Twilight films?
I have not. But I've made some promises.
What, like,
she's seen all of Star Wars, all of Lord of the
yeah,
Rings.
but like that's not those are good movies though.
Well, it's easy for us to say that. She admits that Twilight's
it's easy because they are.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you're a big Terminator fan.
Yeah.
And does this you want to see another Terminator movie?
I'd actually rather see a sequel to the Christian Bale one rather than a reboot, because that one was a reboot.
Well, I mean, but it was set in the same universe. I assume this is still all those movies still happen. I can assume.
No, then why are they calling
this
it
one,
Genesis?
this one played perfectly off the old
I don't
movies,
know.
though.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They should just recast a Christian Bale.
It doesn't make sense to have the 5th movie in a series called Genesis. That's all I'm saying.
Also, Genesis, very uninspired subtitle. I guess
Because
I was excited for the Rise of, or
I was excited for the sequel to that
nice.
one because time travel wasn't invented yet, so that was going to be the sequel. Like that was going to be like the conflict there. Who could get to it first, or invent it first, or use it first? So,
I don't know. Well, along with this news, and I was going to talk about that later when we talk about TV stuff, but there's another television show being planned for Terminator that's going to tie into these new movies.
That's what it's all about nowadays.
I guess so.
Well, I mean, building it. Okay, talking about like everyone wants to build a universe.
Game of Thrones, 2 actresses has played the same character.
What are you talking about?
The evil lady in Game of Thrones with Sarah Connor in the first TV show.
Who played Sarah Connor in the first one? In the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
The lady from 300.
Yeah, Lena Headey.
She played the Sarah Connor in Sarah Connor Chronicles. People really love that show. I've only ever seen a couple episodes of it.
Are you sure? That sounds kind of familiar. Yeah.
Speaking of Lena Headey, I saw it at Hobbit today. The trailer for 300 Rise of an Empire. Mm-hmm. She plays a big role in that.
Yeah.
Looks very cool stylistically.
Same,
I don't know how it's gonna work. I mean, as a
they're on boats this time.
I'm not really sure how. Like, is it before or after?
It's after. I believe it's after.
It's
the Greeks fighting the Persians after they rally the rest of the Greeks after the Battle of Thermopylae.
Okay. It just starts laughing.
I love saying those stupid words.
Thermopylae.
What stupid words? What it's called?
No one can remember those things, though.
Yeah, I
just did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point. It's just you. Thermopylae.
Thermopylae. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm excited for another TV show. Like, I was gonna say, like, all these different companies want to build universes now. Terminator needs to have a TV show. I mean, the fact that Star Trek doesn't have a TV show in these movies is like, I don't know how that happened. I do know how that happened, but like...
But you would assume it's...
Yeah, they'd figure it out.
They have to be working on that.
But like, speaking of those things, half these stories in here are about Fox or Sony or whoever building out their cinematic universe of whatever few characters they actually have. So we'll get to that in a second, but I want to talk about the big... I think for us one of the biggest stories that we didn't get to talk about last time because it hadn't happened yet. I think it happened like 2 days later. Was Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot or Gadot or whatever as people say it. Gal Gadot is what we're going to call her. Has been cast as Wonder Woman in Batman versus Superman. or the working title Batman versus Superman. I really hope they call it that.
All those names were stupid.
The one we talked about last time. Yeah.
What were the names? Like
it was like
just Dark Triumph, like just
like a bunch. Yeah, they were just
something in the night.
Something like Dark and Steel were just replaced in different points.
No, at night too is
At
used
night.
a lot.
But it's gonna be called Man of Steel with
Yeah,
the subtitle,
yeah, that's
which
what
I think is cool.
Man of Steel: Darkest Night.
But right now it does sound like a huge
Steel.
just
Night.
Justice League.
Yeah, like why call it? Just call it Justice League then. If you're gonna do that, then
Well,
use the name.
they're probably gonna focus on Superman again, so that's why.
But, okay, backtrack. Gal Gadot is Superman.
Yeah.
As Wonder Woman.
I think we're all pretty happy with that. She looks the part.
When they
You're not happy with it?
I'm not happy with it.
When they first remember they announced those
ethnic
three
for you?
names.
It's not about. Wonder Woman is ethnic. That's not an issue.
Remember when they announced those three names though? Like the three
people. She was in them.
Yeah, I wanted her out of all three of them, but I wasn't sold on her. But we don't really know her that much.
Well, we said we don't know her because she hasn't done anything.
No, she's in Fast and Furious.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And then that so.
I'm sure she's done other stuff. We just
not really, man.
Well, she probably has, but we haven't seen it.
Even
yet.
then, that doesn't mean she's gonna be bad.
I'm just saying, where does
can't-
her acting
if anything,
skills?
that's like a good sign.
No. I'm just saying
she
we
hasn't
can't.
done a lot of shitty.
It's
movies.
hard to judge because we've only seen her in one character, basically, or I have at least. And so
It's
yeah.
true. Ben Affleck's done more shitty movies than Gal Gadot.
But she is gorgeous. She looks the part. I mean,
People were complaining that her boobs are too small.
Well,
and those people are stupid.
Yeah, no. Wonder Woman should look like athletic. She shouldn't be overly.
Yeah, I think she looks a little.
Like she should be
thin
like kind of
for-
like toned. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Like she's not muscular enough, but
She
can bulk up for the role too. Yeah.
but if she wears the suit, she probably won't wear the suit in the movie. I don't know, but
I think
You
probably
can
she'll
just-
probably
you can-
just be Diana Prince.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Well, that
I'm
was
saying-
the rumor like at first, and then in Justice League she would become Wonder Woman.
but making a suit with that like you can't tell like what's under there.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. It's just armor mostly, mostly armor here anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not. Then there's rumors that like the Flash might be in it, or like other heroes, like other Justice League members.
Well, like probably a lot of teases, right? But like, and then in the next movie, that's when they all come together.
The coolest one was Jason Momoa or whatever.
yeah, Jason Momoa is rumored as a.
And they sell these characters, and like one of them said
As
Martian
Superman.
Manhunter, and I was like,
yeah,
holy
he would make a
crap.
sick Martian Manhunter.
That'd be pretty good.
You think
eh?
so?
I think so.
Yeah.
I just want to see Martian Manhunter on film.
Or he could be the villain, which could be
Doomsday. They were talking
Doomsday,
about.
which would be good. He could play Doomsday.
Play Doomsday.
easily.
He's jacked, yeah.
That was
His
actually the next
character
story.
in Game
But
of
like,
Thrones.
why would it? Well, yeah, it could be Doomsday too, because they did like the whole. Everybody's familiar with Krypton now, right? So
Yeah.
Doomsday is an experiment from Krypton
Yeah.
that Superman can't handle.
But if they can incorporate Martian Manhunter some way, like that's the best thing ever. Because it looks
That's
like
a tough
right
one
now
to
it
do.
looks like they're not gonna incorporate him.
Well, if they have to tone the character down because he's kind of overpowered.
Here's the thing. Okay, sure, you could do that. He's a
Yeah, but he could be overpowered, not choose to use those
changer,
powers.
whatever.
Shapeshifter,
whatever.
But
he
he's very
No, but that's what I'm saying is he doesn't have to be a
Intangible.
green
yeah, but
alien guy the whole
he
time.
goes by like a very strict code that he can't really break, right?
Mhm.
So I can't see him just.
I can
like,
see Momoa doing that. Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I can only picture him with a ponytail, but
and talking Dothraki.
Which Doomsday kind of has a ponytail. Usually,
Yeah, like-
so.
I just
like-
weird to if you're gonna do Doomsday, you'd want to do the death of Superman story, wouldn't you?
Mhm.
And then
and it's too early.
how
for
do you do that in the second movie?
I read that story. It sucks, by the way.
It's Death of Superman. That
It's
whole
a
thing
little
was.
old.
It's just cool because he dies, whatever. But like
You have to understand
the
the
whole
time it was
story
written
is
in.
just Doomsday like flying through space and like just getting to Earth, and then they fight and they go all around the Earth. And
Yeah, it's all no word bubbles the whole
yeah,
time.
it's just brutal. Like
But you have to understand the time it was written in
No, I know.
and what it meant.
no,
Like
it's,
there's
yeah,
2 years or like
Mhm.
half the DCU is wearing armbands with a Superman logo on it,
yeah.
and like that it was a big deal. And the story itself might not be
Is
that
it?
great, but what happened and what it caused was pretty sweet. What
2 for 3.
What you guys talking about over there?
It's an energy drink. I've never seen it before in my life.
That's 7-Eleven, 2 for 3.
And the deal of the day, the Tower of Babble deal of the day. Is,
I don't know. Doomsday's kind of a weird one to like.
you want to wobble the mouse over
Yeah, but I
there?
think it's time we get a cool villain like that.
Well, I think one part of the story was that there's most likely going to be 2 Superman villains, right?
Yeah, but and then that almost
So-
seems like it could be too convoluted with all these new characters.
No, it makes sense because
coming
Doomsday's not the tactician. Like he's not necessarily. He's just brute force, right?
Yeah.
So someone's letting him loose. Who's the puppet master,
up.
right?
Yeah, which probably likes Luthor.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
but then what connection would Luthor have to Krypton and like how would he
He's a smart
They
man.
were right there.
I would think in terms of those 2 characters it would be Brainiac before Luthor, but I don't think they're going to introduce Brainiac this early either.
But the way they're writing, they're kind of changing up some of the origin stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's more closer to the New 52 style origins.
So maybe Doomsday's not a Kryptonian experiment. Maybe it's an experiment on Earth done with Argus with the Kryptonian DNA that's left over from the.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Something
I
like
like that idea. Did you just come up with that now?
I just did that.
I like that. I like. Ooh, it gives me tingles. I was listening to the Fat Man on Batman podcast that had Paul Dini on it, and they were talking about how he was one of the writers in the the animated Batman Superman movie that
in
they
the
did.
first 2 Arkham games.
Yeah, well, that too, and
Like World's Finest?
Yeah, so they did World's Finest, and that scene from World's Finest where Superman uses his X-ray vision to see through his cowl, and then sees it's Bruce Wayne, and then Superman flies back to his house or whatever, and then he looks out the window and he uses telescope vision, and then he has Superman 2 miles away, Batman on a rooftop 2 miles away with his cape flying and the binoculars. He just waves and jumps down. They're saying just steal from everyone that's done good Batman versus
There's
Superman
a lot of it.
movies.
There's a
good
lot.
Content and just use those and
you don't even have to call it. You probably shouldn't call it stealing, but you're influenced.
You're not stealing. It's all owned by the same. It's all owned by DC.
Yeah. So
you can use whatever you want.
well, yeah.
So you're in favor? You're not in favor for Gal Gadot?
I like how she looks. I like.
Optimistic?
Cautious. Yes, I like how she looks. I'm more concerned about her acting ability.
Yeah.
I wanted a strong actress to be able to do it.
I think they're cognizant of that though.
I think she's obviously done screen tests.
Yeah, but screen tests aren't the same. Screen tests are for how you look, not about how you act.
They've probably gotten Henry Cavill and all of them in the room and
done
readings. Yeah, they've done a scene together. Absolutely, you can't cast her without doing.
I mean, that's where you would get. Yeah. That's the only place where you can. So you would say, yeah, she looks good, but because she has you don't know what she's done, which could be a good thing, like you guys said. Yeah. It also could be a bad thing. You don't know. Maybe it's really bad.
She got the line. She had prep time, and then she went in a room with Henry Cavill and did a scene together. And they're like, "Okay, she's one."
But she didn't stand out in Fast and Furious as being like.
Well, you know
what? She didn't have a lot to do.
Henry Cavill didn't really stand out in any of the stuff he did before.
Yeah, and that wasn't her
Immortals wasn't that great, and what else?
You give her a script where she has to be empowered and all that stuff, and she probably can pull it off. Who knows? So I'm in favor.
You have to have faith. We have faith in the producers and the directors and the people that are doing the casting, right?
It's true.
The people
that Snyder doesn't know what he's doing usually.
And at the end of the day, all 3 of them, the Trinity, they all looked the part. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a big part
Batman. of it. I've been waiting for that for so long. So yeah, the next story was going to be that the rumor was that 2 Superman villains and no Batman villains. So more.
I'm really interested in the just look at the can.
It's very intricate design. Who cares? So speaking of Paul Dini, on that same podcast, he was talking about.
What?
This guy's just that's really sweet.
Yeah, energy drink.
Tastes like the Zions one.
Kinda.
Yeah. Anyway.
Can
we talk about what we were going to talk about over here?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, get this back on track, back on the rails.
So we do the mango science one?
Yeah, sometimes do the Cran Raz though.
You guys need a lot of this energy, or
yeah. I haven't in a while. Sorry, go. I'm
not done. No, it's over. You can't. That's it. We'll see you guys again in 2 weeks. So Paul Dini, who I was just talking about, was same podcast was talking about a Batman Beyond movie that they were going to do. Also a Batman Superman movie. They were hired to write all these scripts, and they got paid to do it, and they just never made them. And the Batman Beyond movie was going to was almost going to be made.
Not an animated movie?
No, a live action. And a live action Superman Batman movie. They're going to do all those, but they just never. Then they got canceled or whatever, and then Batman Begins was made, and then everything changed. So yeah, it had the same guy who directed Remember the Titans attached to it, or something like the football movie. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I still kind of want to see it, but like a Batman Begins movie. I think that'd be, or Batman Beyond. Sorry, Batman Begins already happened.
Eventually.
There's actually more Batman Beyond stuff coming up with the comics news, so I'll tease that. Also, last thing about with Dini is that he was talking about, we really like Young Justice. Batman, Beware the Batman's okay, but it's also got canceled. Green Lantern, the animated series, canceled. We like that. Just when it was getting good. And he was talking about, he used to work for Cartoon Network, obviously. He was talking about how Cartoon Network is quote, arbitrarily chooses their shows that they keep. And they don't want female audience. If, he was saying how he had this show he was making, a Tower Prep or something like that. And, how they had actually managed to gain some female audience, and they were watching on a regular basis, or whatever. And they said that was a bad thing. They didn't want them. They don't buy action figures. Well,
I guess they don't want them if it takes away from the other demographic.
It doesn't take away from the other demographic.
It's all about action figures for some reason.
Yeah, for them, all they care about is selling toys. And then it's like, he's like saying, and then Kevin Smith is like, okay, that's fine, but if you can't sell a girl an action figure, sell her something else. If she likes the show, she'll buy something else. Yeah. You know, like, and it's just such a stupid, get stuck on these, like little things.
Yeah, for Green Lantern, the movie toys didn't sell at all. So that's why you didn't see any of the animated TV.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, we already have Green Lantern toys.
And then apparently Walmart and Zellers, they all said they don't want anything with green in the title because it wasn't selling. So that's why.
It's just so, how do you, you get these stats, something with the name green doesn't sell, who... What does that mean? Who can't, you can sell something with the name green in it. The word green doesn't necessarily mean not going to sell.
The guy heard from the source itself.
No, because the movie Green Lantern sucked, so no one wanted to buy the toys.
Yeah, and that latched onto the TV series as well, so they didn't want any Green
Which came out 2 years after.
I know, but they didn't want... No, it was a year after.
I got a year and a half.
Because they kind of planned it, right, in succession or whatever, so that messed it all up.
And they'll have to do something with Green Lantern eventually. I mean, they can't just pretend that movie didn't exist.
And all they released for the TV show was a calendar and 2 DVDs. not even a Blu-ray. So
Jesus. Who buys DVDs anymore? So yeah, it's just so frustrating with how CN does their stuff. They canceled, well, not canceled, but they pulled the Batman Beware the Batman stuff, and they've put more Teen Titans Go, which is just a goofy.
But Beware the Batman's coming back next year though.
Yeah, coming back in January, but so did Green Lantern, and then they finished their series run, and then it was done.
Right.
So if this follows that same formula, then it's over. And it was actually getting really good, Beware the Batman was, even if it didn't have any of the main villains in it.
And what's his name is not the lead animator guy, right?
Who? Paul, Dini? Or not Dini, Tim?
Yeah.
No, because it's done in a CG look. But the
he
guy who
left, he left his position though.
Yeah, he took a leave, I think. But he was with the films department, not the show department. But the guy who did Young Justice, the main guy behind that, he's on to work at with Lucas, whatever, doing the
Clone Wars?
Rebels. Star Wars Rebels. So that's with Dave Filoni, who did Clone Wars, which was awesome.
Sweet.
So that team is going to be... We have actually more stuff on that later, so I'll talk about that in a bit. We'll just finish the movie stuff first, though. So I'll just run through a couple of these things. Universal's hoping to use existing footage from Fast and Furious with Paul Walker instead of starting from scratch.
Yeah, what I've heard is that they filmed over 75% of the movie.
I thought he had Paul Walker filmed half of his stuff, almost exactly at half.
Well, the last movie came out
a year and less than a year.
So that means they started filming basically before the new the recent one was released, and so they have to figure out a way to just to kill off his character basically.
You can't kill that character off with a car crash.
Well,
you can't do that.
Maybe that's
because the whole tagline is what was the tagline
Live fast,
ride or die.
Yeah, right.
That works for the movie, but this happened.
Yeah, but how do you? Okay, but
this happened to the guy in real life. His family would not want to watch that.
Did you guys see Fast 6?
Yes.
Okay, I just saw it the other day. Actually, I really liked it.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's
It's really good.
Yeah.
But that one there could be the end of the series.
Yeah, okay, but you think about Dan. I know. Okay, you're doing a movie about cars. Something's gonna happen in a car crash.
I know that. I understand that.
What's his name? The Asian guy.
Look, these things
What's
happen.
His name?
The movie is not what's important here. The movie's not more.
No, I know, but you're gonna say it's okay, yeah, he died in a car crash.
You understand though, based on the story and his character, it's not. For him to die in a car crash doesn't make any sense.
No, I know. I get what I'm saying, but if people are going to be sensitive about car crashes in this movie,
no, they shouldn't.
No, they're not going to.
I'm saying killing his character off, the guy who actually died in a flaming car crash, killing his character off with a flaming car crash is insensitive.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
There's other ways of doing it.
So I bought the Blu-ray, and there's a trailer for Fast 7 already on it, and it's a funeral scene for Han. And then Tyrese is talking to Paul Walker's character. He's like, "Man, I can't do any more funerals or whatever." And then Paul Walker says, "Don't worry, there's only be one more."
Oh so no! What?
Yeah, he says there's only gonna be one more, and then what's his name? Jason Statham's in a car far away. Then he just says his or whatever, that guy, and then the trailer ends. So, with that scene in the movie, I don't know what they can do.
I don't know.
Maybe Jason Statham kills Paul Walker with a gun.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it happens off screen. But there's.
But in Fast 6, they basically settle down, right?
Yeah,
he has his wife. He has his brand new
He just had a kid,
baby
didn't he?
boy.
Yeah.
And this is not like this wouldn't happen at all like if he didn't die in real life. You know what I mean? Like his character's not meant to die.
Yeah, I know.
So they have to figure out.
Well, it's a challenge for the writers.
They have to figure out a very intelligent way to.
Or
to
don't
kill
kill
his
him off
character.
and just say that he just didn't come. Like
I don't think you can. I don't think you
The
can.
only thing you can do with
you can't
that
do
is
that.
that if he leaves,
You could try.
no, because they're
You
all
could-
about family and staying together. Like they always just.
So maybe he's about
sacrifice
his new
themselves.
family. You just said I haven't seen the sixth one, but like
His
Well,
whole
yeah,
that his
been-
new family is a part of that
Yeah,
greater
like,
family.
they're-
It doesn't
yeah.
work, and it's with almost no other series are the people who play these roles connected so well to their actual character.
Yeah, and then
Paul Walker is like I don't even know his character's name. He's just Paul Walker. So I
It's
mean,
Brian something.
Yeah.
but like
Brian Tortel.
No, it's
no, that's
that-
Dom.
it's
That's Dom's last name.
Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, and anyway, so what I'm saying is like
Ryan O'Connor.
trying to tell someone that he's just off living, he's okay. It just people won't buy it. They'll be like, actually,
then-
he's
and
not
then-
okay.
So
he's
then
dead.
do some reshoots with a different actor.
That
That's another
they've done it in the
possibility.
past, but apparently if they were to scrap this whole movie, it'd be the biggest like scrap in
well,
cinema history.
because
Okay,
these
again,
movies have been
I know.
making more and more money every single
Every year.
and they're on 7, and they've been making more and more
I get it,
every
and I
single
know
time.
that like we have to talk about the movies as part of the podcast. Just want to say like that's not the tragedy here.
No,
you
yeah.
know?
No, no one's
We're not
saying
talking
that.
about the
No,
tragedy.
I know, but like that shouldn't be what they're like. Don't
No,
make
Yes,
it.
they need to be.
No,
they have to
they're-
be sensitive to the fact
Yeah, I
that he's
know.
dead. I mean, we all know that
They're all on hiatus right now. Like they
Yeah.
might not announce something for months and months to come.
Yeah, the
But
movie was
dates
pushed. The movie was pushed.
Right?
Done,
We're just
I think-
discussing
I
the
think-
interesting
yeah.
fact of how they're going to.
I think everybody would be
It's-
okay
it just-
if they did reshoots.
Yeah,
I think
has this ever
everybody would
happened
understand.
before?
Yeah, but I'm personally like I was depressed when I heard the news.
Yeah,
I think
I mean,
it's terrible.
we know of actors who have died with
Yeah,
with
but
shooting a
this is a-
movie.
this
I mean,
is
with
different,
The Dark Knight.
Did he die during or
He
after?
died right after.
Right after.
Yeah,
Right
right
after.
after,
So we still have the full thing done.
Full thing done.
But like with this is right in the
And
middle.
it
of
had-
this
it.
guy
he
is
did
a-
have like
he's
an
a
ending
core
to it.
character too, like
Yeah.
like a very core character.
Well,
And
not
him
even.
and Vin Diesel play off each other like perfectly well.
Yeah, and they're like best friends in real life.
Yeah.
Like best friends. And like there's like a quote about when Vin Diesel went to talk to his mom and like how he said he was really sorry, and then his mom was like, I shouldn't be like you. I'm sorry for you. You lost your better half or your other half or whatever she said. It was like really sad. Yeah, we talked about that actual death in the last podcast. It's just really
Did we?
sad. Yeah, we did.
Dan just doesn't care.
You don't remember this? I said we had a moment of silence. Remember? It was like 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. Very
Oh, yeah.
very insensitive, Daniel.
Okay, another trailer. Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Have you guys all seen it?
Yeah.
That looks sick.
Yeah.
That made me like pumped for this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
You
I don't know
you
what's wrong with
you don't
you.
see any Spider-Man 3 type or
Really
is
What
what coming
it
up
has
with
a potential like it has a
It's a lot of characters and a lot of villains potentially.
Yeah.
Electro, yeah, I know, but like, obviously they learned from the mistakes of the past. Like they're not just gonna do the same
Well,
thing.
not necessarily because it's also a lot of different people making this movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and those
The
people
same
are aware of what
producers
happened.
probably.
Those
Yeah.
people are aware of what happened with the last
Yeah,
movie.
Yeah, but they did some weird stuff.
But those
Electro,
people don't,
I'm not sold on Electro. I
those
don't
people
know what-
Also,
also
Electro
don't
looks
wanna,
really weird,
They
guys.
don't always want to admit that they're wrong, right? That's why they kind of reboot the whole thing.
What I do want, okay, sorry to cut you off. What I do
That's
think
it.
is interesting is the whole Peter Parker's like dad stuff is clearly more like his
Yeah, they're
parents
finally
are more explored, which is that side's interesting because that wasn't talked about in the first.
Well, we
Raimi
thought we were gonna get
series.
something crazy, like new,
Yeah.
but they kind of shied away from it a bit. Now they're exploring it more, so that's cool.
Yeah, so that's good, but like the rest of it, like the Goblin thing looks kind of weird to me.
Well, I like that like Oscorp is kind of connecting all the enemies and like he's constantly being involved with Oscorp and it's leading up to the third one, which is inevitably going to be a Green Goblin as the main villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
didn't
in
they
this, like, it
didn't
looks
they
like
announce a Venom
Norman
movie?
Osborn's on his deathbed. In
So yeah, so he is, and so the whole thing is that a lot of these projects are designed to try to keep him alive. He's trying to use these different things. So maybe we'll have a Norman Osborn
Wait,
Goblin.
Isn't
Like
the
some sort of crazy
isn't the
steroid
Vulture like that already? Like he's
Vulture.
So
He's-
if
He
you
was like super old, and then he had a serum that made him younger. I think,
yeah,
or
so
something.
Yeah.
something like that could happen with him.
So if you guys in the trailer, there's a reference to the Vulture and
And
to
Dr.
Doctor Octopus. So in the which is the Ultimate Universe in the Marvel, it's Oscorp that's associated with all those villains. So I think they're going more that ultimate route, which is good, makes sense. Yeah. And if they are doing that, it ties into another story, which is that the actor who's playing Spider-Man, what's his name?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield isn't signed on to do a fourth, and they've announced a fourth Spider-Man movie already, which is weird because it's only the second one. Mm-hmm. But he's not signed on to do it, so people say, well, he's either dead, or they just haven't re-signed him yet, or maybe they'll go and do like the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
The Peter Parker thing.
Yeah, which would that'd be kind of cool. It's something definitely different. We already know that Venom's coming. They've announced a Venom movie, a Sinister Six movie, and
so those are official announcements.
Those are official announcements. Cool. And like this again, expanding their universe. They can only do so much with Spider-Man. I mean, they're gonna have what's her name, Black Cat will obviously get in there somewhere, and Hydro Man.
Before they do the death of Peter Parker, I would want to see them do the death of Gwen Stacy,
which will be in this movie.
In this one, you think?
Yes. So
I thought that would be tied into the Green Goblin.
There's already rumor that it was gonna happen.
So in this one. The reason I say that is, in the whole big rumor, is that in the comic book where Gwen Stacy dies, she's wearing this particular blue jacket, and like they have that
outfit actually.
And then in like there's images from the set, and she's wearing that exact blue jacket outfit,
which could be to fool people, or it's actually paying homage to the comics.
Yeah, so. But it's also and there's also a scene on a bridge.
Yeah.
So at night, so it's very likely that she'll die in this one. I would guess, because then you need to move on. Although all the rumored Mary Jane scenes have been cut from the movie, so they had a girl cast as Mary Jane, and they essentially fired her and cut all of her scenes out of the movie. Although it's funny, one of her scenes is actually in the trailer, where there's a girl's head staring out a window, and there's a car falls upside down onto another car. Mm-hmm. That's the girl who plays Mary Jane, but you won't actually know if that scene's in there. They won't say that that's who it was or whatever. But so we'll eventually see Mary Jane. You can't do Spider-Man without MJ, but I don't know. I didn't really like the first Amazing Spider-Man, so
again, I don't know why you didn't like it.
It was just it felt cheap to me, like the effects
that's my
cheap.
problem right now is that the first three had more of a cohesive look and like I don't know, just better.
Well, yeah, and watching some of those scenes where like Spider-Man in this trailer, where he's like fighting Electro and he's like jumping around, like there's all those lightning bolts.
That looks.
I just think it looks good, but like Electro looks weird. Like
Electro looks a little bit weird, but the action set pieces there look sick.
No, the action, yeah.
I'm more concerned with the story than anything else. Like, what does Electro have to do with Oscorp and everything else that's happening? The Rhino's in it briefly.
Yeah, because instead of
that makes sense too, because
it's sweet giant robot
that's probably like one of those suits. Like, there's the Vulture suit and the Octopus suit.
Yeah,
the Rhino suit's probably one of those from Oscorp, right?
So, they're really connecting those villains now, which they're kind of also making them.
Which makes sense because like they aren't really standalone.
And also you have the whole problem with those villains that they all happen to get their abilities by accident. Every single one of them. It's like okay, like you need to like control these substances a little bit better.
But it kind of sucks that they're kind of grouping them all into one thing too at the same time.
Well, it gives it that cohesive.
But also kind of
thing
lessens their importance though individually.
The thing like Rhino especially is the best example. He's not going to be a standalone.
No, you don't really care about Rhino.
But like, there's other ones though.
Dr. Octopus could be Dr.
Mysterio and stuff, and like.
Dr. Octopus. Well, we know how the Sinister Six movie is eventually going to come, and it's like, it's just weird to see a movie about all the villains. Like,
and I can't see a better Dr. Octopus than in Spider-Man 2. Like,
that was sick. Spider-Man 2 is a great movie, for sure.
Yeah, and then they made Spider-Man 3, and.
I'm excited that there's a Venom movie, like you said, they're connecting their universes. Venom's going to have his own movie and eventually connect with Spider-Man.
I also think that's tough. I don't know how do you do a movie just from a villain, from like they're all sympathetic villains, but it's just hard to do a whole movie with.
Well, they're probably going to make Venom less of a villain and more of an anti-hero, I think, and then make Carnage the villain.
Well, they did. Right now in the comics, Venom is like a secret agent working with the government, and it's like more under control. I guess the whole thing is that the symbiote eventually becomes less crazy and more like understanding.
Well, it like adapts, but and then Carnage doesn't. Carnage just goes insane.
Well, right? because of what's his name, the crazy dude he attaches to.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, crazy dude.
Irish. Whatever.
He's like a
He's
murderer.
like in prison.
Yeah. And that seeing Carnage and Venom will be cool, but I don't know. It's weird to see them spend all this work and money expanding this Spider-Man universe when like. Just, use a little portion of that money and figure out something with Marvel so you can get Spider-Man in the...
Again, we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, and it seems maybe not like maybe this is wishful thinking that it's coming, like it's coming because them expanding on Peter's parents in the comics or whatever when they did that, like they were agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they could be connecting that eventually have Spider-Man, become a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it'll be a big reveal when they do it all.
I guess all this could technically be happening before any of the Avengers stuff happens, or
like right before, and then as he's realizing what his parents were, that's part of him. He's always been about like destiny and like what you do with the power you have, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as he finds out that it was a larger destiny, as soon as it finds out he was kind of like.
And it's almost clear that they're kind of separate right now because if they ever did come together, it'd be such a way bigger deal.
Yeah, that's true.
And the thing, like, as we do like the competition between the two because as Justice League becomes more and more reality, they're gonna want to bring those things together. They're gonna want to make their shit.
That's a good point. Yeah. So just as a note here, so Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci, who the guys sued.
Roberto Orci.
Yeah, Roberto Orci. It's his full name. Robert Orci.
Roberto.
I think he just goes by Robert.
Yeah, right. Anyway, Robert Orci, with the guys who did Star Trek, I think they did this and the Transformers movies, or Ed Solomon and Drew Goddard will collaborate to oversee the developing story over several films with Spider-Man universe with Sony. And then over at Fox, you have X-Men Apocalypse, which has been announced. It's coming out May 27th, 2016. It's going to have only the first class cast. So it's not going to be a time travel movie, but just set in the future.
And like after
so
X3,
set
basically?
in the future, so that means the first class people...
Or maybe get stuck in the future, or after
after
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I was talking with the guy from work about that, because he told me he doesn't want the old cast, and I kind of disagree with him a little bit, because I like Ian McKellen and...
how do you get...
But Michael Fassbender is way more exciting right now than having.
Yeah, sure. Michael Fassbender is like quote unquote hot right now.
And then Days of Future Past is like the last hurrah for those older actors, right? Like we don't.
Yeah, and you can probably assume that most of those actors don't have a big role in that movie.
Yeah.
So that's saying that the first class from the '60s are now in present day.
Mm-hmm.
So
but also how
a lot of this hinges on Days of Future Past.
Okay, but also think about this. How do you keep... Okay, so if Days of Future Past was set... Or not Days of Future... Sorry. First Class was set in the 60s.
Yeah.
You can't just keep making, like, a 70s period piece and then an 80s period piece and then a 90s one. It's like... No, at some point you have to move... If you want to go on with these casts, you have to move them into a more of a modern setting. And maybe this is a way to do that.
So, do you think that they've, replaced their future selves in some capacity?
But, all I really care about was Michael Fassbender. What?
Shut up!
No, but seriously.
James McAvoy is pretty sweet.
Yeah, but you'd rather have...
Patrick Stewart?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart is a much better...
Because when you have the X-Men, Patrick Stewart is supposed to be older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you want the same Wolverine. You want the same Jean Grey. Same story.
Jean Grey's dead. She's not coming back.
I know, but same... I don't know about that.
You want another You want Cyclops
same
back
Cyclops, right? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Anyway, about Apocalypse. We think that's cool, right?
Well, obviously.
yeah.
It's pretty badass.
I'd love to see the Three Horsemen with an Archangel maybe and
Horseman Apocalypse.
Yeah, but because that whole thing, that's the only cool thing. With,
a lot of it was ruined with Last Stand though.
This whole process is to fix what was ruined with X3.
And the Wolverine kind of fixed some of it too, right?
Yeah.
Which I just
you could do Archangel with Banshee instead of Angel. That kid that was in First Class as Banshee kind of flies.
He's not back though, I don't think.
No.
Why
not?
I just remember seeing a thing. He's not coming back.
Oh, whatever.
But I saw Wolverine for the first time.
And what'd you think?
I liked it.
Yeah,
a little cheesy here and there.
It had a couple.
But you can't complain about cheesiness when you talk about a Wolverine standalone movie compared to the first Wolverine standalone movie.
No, I know.
That movie was all
just
cheese.
Certain scenes just didn't make sense, like the whole subway thing and.
Yeah, that was more of a
when he's running around on the top.
Yeah. I just think
the ending
was a little weird.
more blood and more violence.
Well, the uncut version, which is
I watched the uncut version.
Yeah, those are not.
There's more blood, but
have you seen the original version? I mean, I can't. It's tough to see if you haven't compared.
I don't know. I just saw a lot of interviews with the director and Hugh Jackman. They kept talking about berserker rage and blood and all that stuff, and I didn't get my fix.
Of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of Hugh Jackman, he said when asked if he would be coming back for more movies, he said, "quote I don't know whether or not I will do this next movie. I'm really proud of this movie, and I'm excited to talking about the Wolverine, and I'm excited to develop something with the Wolverine director Jim Mangold." from the beginning because that is a great ride. That's exciting to see what we come up with, but I have a very high expectation of what it would need to be for me to star in it. Yeah. And if it doesn't reach those, I won't be doing it. And he was just speaking with it. There's no script.
And then it's also hard to make a script taking into account all the new X-Men movies coming out.
It's like it has to keep changing if like...
Because this one is a prequel.
Too, like,
although the Wolverine was very much a standalone movie, didn't it?
But then the last scene is a prequel to Days of Future Past with...
Yeah.
And you have no explanation
the
how
coolest
Professor
thing
X
ever.
You have no explanation of how Professor X comes back.
You have to
how they got their powers back, right?
You assume they'll touch on that.
No, I know. I'm just saying there's no explanation of it in that one scene.
That's true.
So they will get touched on for sure, but I don't know. I like Hugh Jackman though. So.
No, he's awesome, but I'm sure they can find someone else.
At some point, you mean someone's gonna have to take over. He's gonna get too
old.
old.
He's done. I'm pretty sure it's every single movie, so it's like 7 or something. Like that.
He's set a record for most superhero movies. Yeah. Like people have done other roles that played the same character more, but
and my vote for the next Wolverine is Crixus from Spartacus.
Ooh, it would be good.
Yeah, I've said this before. I guess you guys forgot, but
speaking of Manu Bennett, and Arrow, like. Manu Bennett, top, like, really good stuff. Like, this last, like, half-season finale or whatever, it could have been its own, like, season finale. It was so good. And the Flash, origin scene is, like, really well done. Like, they have this whole thing, they have it set up with, like, a particle accelerator in Central City, and they keep teasing it throughout the whole season. And you're thinking that like they'll change his origin, and it'll be from a particle accelerator thing. So what happens is that a minor spoiler for the Flash origin. So there's like a lightning storm, and the first day like the particle accelerator turns on, and then something happens. There's this big like orange like bubble that expands out of like the particle accelerator in Central City goes in, turns off all the lights in the whole city or whatever, and then all these chemicals. He has a shelf of chemicals, like just like in the comics. And then it's actually funny because in the episode before that, like he's like in the Arrow cave or whatever, and he's like, you got a shelf of chemicals too, and he's like, this shelf of chemicals is very dangerous. Like you should just have them lying around here.
Did they show him put on a suit or anything?
No, not yet. So like he sees this thing out the window and it goes, and then all like these chemicals start like floating, and then he's like closing a window or something with like a chain, and then lightning strikes, and he goes flying into the shelf, and like all the chemicals.
Kept it the same.
And then I see like a red like glow like go through his skin or whatever, like just beneath his skin, like,
sweet.
And then cut to black.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that like so obviously the show is coming, but Arrow this last season is one of the best. I'd say the best superhero show ever, as far as like live action. It's like
now he's actually wearing like the
he's got an actual mask now
instead
of like
calling him Green Arrow now or something like that.
So he went from being the vigilante to now just being called preferring to be called Arrow.
Yeah.
And so this whole thing is that it's his origin of becoming Green Arrow over a long period of time. So assuming by the end, the final scene of this whole series you'd think would be him with the mustache and the goatee and being called Green Arrow instead of just Arrow or whatever.
Are they still flashing back to the...
Yeah, so the whole thing is that...
They're still doing it?
Yes, so the whole thing is that these two stories, the island, like his 5 years on the island, they tell that story parallel to what's going on.
Okay.
And it's still
over
happening.
the entire series. They're going to be doing that.
There's no way.
They're telling a 5-year story. He's on the island for 5 years.
Yeah.
So they're telling that story over a 5-year period. So at least 5 years on the actual like during present day. And those things, as it would often parallel what's going on or being a metaphor or whatever. He meets Deathstroke on that island, and in this like again spoilers. And you guys are going to eventually watch it. So Deathstroke comes back in this last season finale. He's got like the white hair streak, the what's it called, eye patch, and like and the way they have it set up, like you don't know, because at the time in the flashbacks they're still friends, like they get along or whatever, and like they're good friends. So here he's like, someone says like, you know who it is behind that mask? He's like, yeah, I do, and he's like, he's a friend of mine or whatever, and then he talks about how he wants to like tear him down, by taking away his family and his friends and the people he cares about or whatever. But
has Amanda Waller showed up yet?
Yes, and she wasn't that good. It was only one scene. Well, so maybe she'll come back and be better. But yeah, I don't know. It's been very, very, very good, and I would say like you could probably start watching and skip the first couple episodes. But I mean, the whole thing on its own is makes it worth those first couple episodes. It can be tough, but like at this point, it's all paid off. Sweet. And it's CW, so there's like a little bit of the beautiful people thing, and like like his assistant or whatever, like Felicity Smoke, always wearing like the last episode she was wearing a dress with a boob window in it, like a la Power Girl.
Nice.
But anyway, my recommendation is watch Arrow. I know the first season is for sure on Netflix, so go watch that.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Well, that's handy.
Mm-hmm. And obviously you can get the season somewhere if you need to. But yeah, no, worth it. Watch it. What else we got here? Disney has reached a deal with Paramount regarding the Okay, so yeah, Disney has reached a deal with Paramount regarding the distribution and marketing rights for Indiana Jones. According to Variety, it will probably be at least 2 to 3 years before we see another movie, though. So they managed to... I think the deal is like they get... Universal keeps the rights to... or Paramount, excuse me, to distribute the first 4 movies, and then gets a cut of all the future movies. So it's a pretty good, sweet deal, actually. But yeah, so I think this might be hinging on the whole rumor was that to get Harrison Ford back to play Han, he really wanted to do another indie movie. Oh, okay. So that they're like, so maybe they cut this deal to get him back for Han. It's weird that he how much he loves Indiana Jones, but like almost doesn't like his Star Wars stuff. Yeah, he doesn't talk about it like he does Indiana Jones. I don't know, because everyone loves Han Solo so much, and he just seems to just not care. He's just a grumpy old guy now.
he's pretty old too. Like, how is he even going to shoot these movies?
Well, I mean, maybe he'll die. Well, you can't go into the same cast. It's not going to be the same people. You know what I mean? I don't know. Michael Bay said this about the next Transformers is, quote, "This is much more cinematic one. I focused on keeping this one slick. There won't be any goofiness in this one. We went a bit too goofy on the last one."
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this one's slick. Don't worry, Dan. Transformers 4, Age of Extinction. So yeah, I saw The Hobbit. It was number 1 at the box office this weekend. Got pulled in $73.7 million. But didn't make as much money as the first one. The first Hobbit, that is. Not the first Lord of the Rings. I don't know how much that one made. But I guess we'll wait to talk about it till you guys have seen it. I thought you would have seen it. You love Hobbits so much.
I know, I just didn't have a chance this weekend.
I went and saw it by myself today.
Yeah, that's what we really need to talk about.
Well, it's just not that... Seeing a movie is... by yourself in the theater is not that big of a deal. I mean,
it's not, but like, you could have had people go.
I just didn't think to do it. I don't know why. Like, I was just like in my own world. Like, just drove to the theater, watched the movie. Like, good movie,
you can
by
talk
the way.
About it.
I don't want to. I'd rather
anything for anybody. I know the story.
No, I know. It's not about spoiling. I just wanted to talk about it with everyone having seen it, rather than just me. I've literally been talking about Arrow for the last 20 minutes, so I don't want to just keep talking about something else and just be me talking for another 20 minutes.
That's true, too. I'll make time to see it soon.
No, I mean, Jeremy just saw a bunch of movies lately. He'll catch up eventually. So I'll do some TV stuff super quick. So, Dan, Community.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, the trailer, the teaser, and then the trailer for the first hour-long episode.
I'm so pumped.
It looks so funny. I've never laughed at a TV trailer so much in my life.
Okay, you know what I did? Okay, the other day I watched a random episode of Community. I often do because I think
they pulled the first season from Netflix.
I haven't.
The first couple. I wouldn't look. I couldn't find them, but I don't know. Whatever.
It's all on my Netflix. I just picked a random episode. I was like eating it. I had a little bit of time before whatever. And the random episode I picked was the political episode. Remember
they're running for
And one of the things that she says when she's running is like one of her promises to get elected is like the assailant known only as the ass crack bandit will be brought to justice, and that's in the trailer. And somebody does something and Troy's like my ass that's like such a long call.
That's really funny. Like they obviously went back and watched that was like,
Harmon's back, the showrunner, the creator's back, so that like. He's gonna bring a lot of
you're just like, hey guys, I have this idea for the bandit that I really wanted to do.
He'll bring a lot of the stuff back from seasons.
Hilarious. He's just bending over to pick something like a pencil or something.
I'm pumped for that though.
Jeremy doesn't care at all.
I just haven't seen the show, I guess.
Too funny.
It looks like, I guess the whole concept is that Jeff comes back and has to be a teacher.
Yeah, which makes sense. It's like, how do you get him to
come back as a student? Yeah. That's good.
Hey, shut it, Leonard.
I've been listening to the Harmontown podcast a lot.
Yeah?
So
He seems like a little bit of a dick.
No, he's awesome.
Because I watched the whole...
I guess he can seem like a dick sometimes, but he...
I watched the whole Comic-Con panel that they had for Community for this last Comic-Con. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And he just came off as a bit of a dick. But maybe that was just like how... Maybe he just seems like it has a great
He refers to himself as a narcissist a lot. Which is fine.
So he probably is a bit of a dick.
He's a smart dude, but like, no, though, he just like he wants people to appreciate it for what it is and not try to make it something that it's not. Like,
yeah, I guess.
And it is it's okay to be proud of your work. It's his baby. You know?
Yeah, no.
Also, did we talk about Rick and Morty the other?
Yeah, which I said that.
Did you watch it?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. I actually should write that down or write it somewhere.
It's on YouTube. The first episode's free on YouTube. Rick and Morty.
Okay.
It's pretty funny.
Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
Cool. Animated. Jeremy's on his phone. He's very involved. So I just talked about Arrow. So yeah, like I'll just mention that they bring superpowers obviously into it now, and they're doing it really well. Very integrated, very cool.
Sweet.
Watch it. Gotham. So the Fox
Gordon
TV show.
Yeah.
Which they should just call it Gotham Central because that would be so much cooler.
Gotham PD.
Or Gotham PD, but why not Gotham Central? Because it already has a name cachet towards it. I guess only with comic book fans.
Yeah.
And that show would be cooler if Batman was involved, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so we know now that young Bruce Wayne is going to be involved in the series as a fairly regular.
Like how
appearance.
young?
Like the first case is going to be
adult.
No, the first case of the story is going to be his
young.
death of his parents.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But then the kid is not going to be involved after that, really.
Yeah, no, the kid's going to be around a lot apparently.
Yeah, apparently it's a reoccurring character.
As a 10-year-old Bruce Wayne.
What does he do?
I don't know.
Well,
Cries a lot, probably.
Gordon will have a connection with him somehow, right? Because he kind of did in the movies a bit.
I think even in the comics now he has a connection with him.
Yeah, a little bit, but like...
Kind of like a father figure, but that's like kind of protecting him from the distance. Maybe he gets into a lot of trouble all the time. I don't know. You
almost don't want to see a lot of young Bruce Wayne at that age. Like, it's going to be annoying.
It's
going to take away from Batman.
It's not something you see often. Like, it's not a
it'll humanize Batman too much. And Batman's,
Like, what if this show doesn't even get picked up,
No, it'll get picked up. Are you
I
crazy?
think it's going to.
I think, didn't it get a straight-to-series order? I'm pretty sure it did.
It's so big right now.
I'm almost positive they got a straight-to-series order. I don't know that for sure, so don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure. A lot of shows are getting straight to series order now. Like a lot of comic book shows. Mm-hmm. So we mentioned this before that Drew Goddard was the guy who was rumored to be taking on the Daredevil thing, who did a bunch of stuff with Buffy and other stuff. It's been confirmed that he will in fact be doing he'll be the showrunner for Daredevil. Write the pilot, direct the pilot. Daniel just can't wait. Like I just want to see Daredevil so bad.
I just want to see Daredevil done right.
So we've talked about the Terminator the TV show already. Star Wars Rebels, we talked about that as well. And then, so I've been watching Almost Human. I've talked about this, I think, maybe once on the podcast. It's really good. It's that show on ABC, I think, with Carl Urban, set in the future. He's a cop.
It looks good.
I don't know. One of the episodes wasn't as good, and they've been airing them out of order, apparently, which is kind of weird. Mm. But it just... interesting future settings, kind of has a Minority Report kind of feel to it.
Looks like the budget's pretty big too.
Yeah, because like it looks good. Like you don't have that cheap feeling that you get from like a lot of other sci-fi shows. Like it feels like a realized futuristic world. Like one of the episodes dealt with sex bots, and like the people were, to make the perfect sex bot, people were farming skin off of actual humans to like put onto like androids. Because the whole thing is that all human cops have to be partnered with an android cop, because it's like so dangerous out there now with like this rampant acceleration technology. So obviously androids have gotten to the point where they're very advanced, so they have these sex androids, and they had it was very that's the best episode, and not because the sex bots, because it was actually like an interesting story. But yeah, cool. So it's really good, and like the guy who plays the android and Carl Urban have really good interplay, and it's very much like a buddy cop like show, but it's set in the future, and that's cool. So it's, I think it's set in like 2050 or something like that. But anyway, good show. You can watch that. I think it's only a couple episodes in, so you're not too far behind. Game stuff. There's also not a lot of here. So Telltale, we talked about this kind of off the podcast a little bit. The Telltale games, HBO, Game of Thrones, series. So got a little bit more information on it now, is that the project is described as a, quote, multi-year, multi-title partnership between Telltale and HBO Global Licensing. Targeted to premiere digitally in 2014 with an episodic game series for home consoles, PC/Mac, and mobile devices. Specific platform and details are not yet to be announced. We can assume it's probably next gen though. Mm-hmm. And it's the whole thing is it's the deals with HBO, and so it's probably will tie into the TV universe.
The TV universe.
Which is fine. Would you rather it be about the books, Dan?
Sorry?
Would you rather be set in the book universe, or
it's?
I know you have an issue with this for some reason.
I don't have an issue with it. I just said it's like
I know you have an issue.
Well, what is it going to be like? In the article that we were reading, where we were talking about it off mic, would it be like? It would be very similar to Walking Dead if it was all.
Yes, they might Telltale. All their games are like that.
But if they're licensed with HBO,
they are licensed with HBO.
Then that makes sense to use
So
those
it's just going to be
assets.
the Rangers, like the White Walkers.
Well, we don't know that.
It just makes more sense to use all those assets from the TV show.
Okay, but that's not what really makes the show great.
No, I know,
the story great.
Yeah, but you can.
They're going to
the whole
continue
thing with the Telltale games is they're all about like character interaction and like choices and all those things. Like you can do those.
It makes sense at the up north. It's just like.
Yeah, but the Walking Dead game doesn't have like an affiliation with what's the TV channel?
AMC.
Yeah, AMC, right?
It's set in the comic book.
Yeah, like if they did, right, it'd be more tuned towards the show. Whereas this licensing is in tune with the show, so they're going to go with that feel and that kind of.
And maybe they'll have the same voice actor, like the character actors do the voices or whatever. Because I mean, if you're probably it's a very expensive deal, so they probably have the budget to afford.
And they might focus on things that they aren't focusing on the TV show, right?
Yeah, like each episode only has like pieces of each person, like thing. You can obviously time jumps all the time in that show. So
we don't know what the gameplay is, but like battles or right, you say sometimes they kind of skipped over it, right? In certain things, like certain scenes or whatever. So
I mean, I doubt this is going to be like
I'm just saying things like that can be fleshed out more, right?
They could show
there's things in the show that they didn't have a budget for to do or show, right?
It's true.
There's always like the aftermath kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's lots of things I think you can do. It's such a big universe. Like, why can't you do? Sure. Daniel's saying that it's hard to do it because the only thing that's interesting that's going on is the main story.
No, not necessarily, but like that. That's what people like. That's what people. Like, it being tied into the TV universe, that's what people are going to care about. They're not going to care about being some random assassin that's sent to go deliver a message.
But what if it ties in, like, whatever...
You're not going to play as any of the characters, the main characters.
Okay, yeah, because the choices are already made. So that's not exciting. But maybe in this game, you have a messenger, and you're delivering a message that message is in the game, in the actual show, that someone reads it in the actual show. And you're walking down a hall or something, and you hear dialogue from a scene from the show, and like they're standing in the same way or whatever, and like you're seeing that scene from a different perspective.
Or you hear information and you get to choose whether or not who you tell.
Yeah, they could do cool stuff like that. I think it would be better if it like weren't so much tied in with the show, so that it could be its own thing, just like the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean,
it's like it could be its own story within the same universe.
This show is so close to the books anyway. Is how you're doing with the books. How much different would it really be anyway?
I'm not saying dealing with it. It's not. It does. It could be its own thing. Is what I'm saying. In the same universe,
it could be.
But its own version of the story. Just like the TV show's its own version of the book story.
It'd be a different interpretation, so there'd be different.
But then you ask, is that what people want? I don't think that's what people would be after.
No, the game's being made because...
obviously the deal was made to
and the game's being made because of the show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This game wouldn't be made if it was just a book. If there was never a show, this game would never exist.
So it makes sense.
Maybe it wouldn't, but it probably wouldn't. Jack Tretton was asked about if Sony was using an artificial supply strategy to increase demand in the PS4, and said that, quote, "You have competition out there. There's a lot of things that people can spend money on, especially during the holidays, and the holidays only come around once a year. So that's when you want to take advantage of the market opportunity. It breaks my heart if somebody has $400 in their hand and they want to get one and we can't sell one to them. So it just seems like they probably literally do have supply issues. You can only make so many so quickly. At the same time, I think that we did have artificial supply because those weren't advanced. They weren't as advanced as the PS3 or the Xbox 360, You could make them faster. They were essentially
And
game
they were
cubes.
like, and they were like nowhere though, right?
Yeah, you couldn't get one for like a
There was
year
like
and a
two.
half.
There's like two at every Walmart or something like that.
I think there was that Colin Morty said that stupid thing like how you bought two just because you could because he's like you couldn't find one for so long he doesn't even know what he would do with it. So anyways, that's PS4 and the Xbox One launches have been very successful.
Yeah.
So I think he even said that it was the PS4 was the fastest selling console launch of all time or something like that. So that's,
They said the biggest console launch, and then they said the Xbox was like the most selling. I don't know.
yeah, they all want to spin it so that they sound like they're the best. Battlefield 4 on the PlayStation 4 and actually on the Xbox One is having a bunch of problems. People are saying that like this game came out way too soon. In fact, EA is being sued by I'm not sure. I think state shareholders that saying that they were negligent and by releasing this this game too soon and they were lying to their shareholders about how
they wanted launch day, right? So.
Yeah. Well, but like the game came out before the launch. Like they could have, I don't know. It's just
You've been having a lot of problems.
I couldn't play it for the first couple.
Yeah,
of
And
days.
there's no problems on the PS3 version, right? Like,
I feel it has less issues. It's clear that this game wasn't ready to ship and they shipped it anyway, which is really painful for me because I love the Battlefield series. Yeah. And now that I've played a bunch of it now, and they've released I think 3 patches, and it works better, but it still crashes every once in a while. Just back to the home like main menu in the PS4. Sony's asking people when they get that message, you can type in something like your own comment into it and say what mode you're playing or whatever. They want you to do that, so because they can read it and find out like where this problem's coming from. And like to me, that's something that should have been figured out in the beta
testing.
Like why are we figuring out your problems for you now? And they have come out and said like they're not working on any like DLC, any more games until they fixed. The problems.
That's good. And aren't they giving away free stuff too?
They gave away a scope for a pistol.
I thought there was more than that.
and like a double XP thing and like, but I mean if everybody gets double XP then it doesn't really. How's that? But like, anyway, I assume they'll probably have some like they'll probably have something. I know that there are certain people on Xbox One that are getting refunds for their
refunds
for Battlefield Premium, but then it wasn't clear if they were actually still had Battlefield Premium, like they just wanted to return it because it wasn't working. I'll eventually buy it because there's so much DLC that I'm going to want to play, and a lot of like the China Rising stuff, and then like the Ocean one that I'm still hoping out for that my idea of having like moving control points will eventually happen because their whole thing in this is that they added like a wave technology that's like dynamic, changing and affects like gameplay. So when like there's this one level, I can't remember what it's called now. Anyways, it's like on like these series of like little connected islands, and
archipelago.
Yeah, almost like an archipelago. And it starts like all sunny and nice, and like there's like a wind turbine thing and all this stuff. And then as the level progresses, like a storm rolls in, and then like lightning strikes the wind turbine, and then the waves get pick up really high. So and there's a lot of boats you can like drive, and they're very powerful. And like you can't see over certain waves because like you're like on the bottom crest of one, and if you're in a Sea-Doo, you almost can't get around. And then like a giant ship crashes into one of the islands. So that's not like a destroyer ship, which is kind of cool. But like that's just one of those things where like Levolution. There's a lot of different cool stuff that you can do. I really like it now that it works. But before it was like I was really frustrated. Like you couldn't play Conquest, and that's the only mode I want to play. So anyway, it's better now, and they have a whole like website tracking the problems and how they're fixing them and all that stuff. News that goes along with that is that they've come out and said that DICE isn't working on a next-gen Battlefield game for next year. Most likely means that either someone else is working on a Battlefield game for next year, which I don't want anyone else but DICE touching that series, or that they're just going to go back to what they used to do and not release one every single year. Like, Battlefield 2 came out when we were, like, I don't know, how old were we? Like 16, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
And then Battlefield 3 came out a couple years ago, and that was a big gap. I mean, they made the Bad Company games, but those weren't every year either. So they might go back to longer stretches in between.
Yeah, for sure. It's better that way.
And then you won't have this issue where you release a game that's not ready.
Yeah, you can actually make it worthwhile, make it worth an upgrade for everybody.
Yeah. So, and we also know that they're working on Mirror's Edge. We also know that they're working on Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
So if And at this point, I'd rather see those games come out sooner than another Battlefield. I'm playing one now, and it's good. It's far from when it works. And I want to see a battle. I don't want to see Battlefront be suffering from being pushed out too early, because I've been wanting to play another Battlefront game since Battlefront 2, and that was even younger than maybe
around the same age.
Yeah, around the same time. But it's been a while, so I want to see that because that's gonna be sweet. And then obviously Mirror's Edge 2. I mean, you guys. I don't know if you guys ever played the first Mirror's Edge.
I only played the demo. I think
It's a lot of fun. I can probably lend it to you. It's really almost impossible to find now. The Mirror's Edge. I couldn't almost find. I looked for months before I found one at an EB, in Kildonan Place or something like that.
Jesus, you just go on your own little adventures all the time?
While I was calling around. That was a while ago. So, Sony says they have some epic stuff still under wraps for E3. If you had to guess what they were going to launch, what would you say it would be? Or announce?
Uncharted got.
Well, they already announced Uncharted.
Yeah, but epic as in a trailer.
Yes, but if it's
new graphics, new engine.
I assume new stuff. If it had to be something new, what would it be?
Like a new IP? I don't think it's.
Well, not a new IP, but a new game. So it would be God of War 5 or 4. 4.
Well, if Ascension counts, then 5.
No, Ascension doesn't count. It's not enough.
Well, they have 15 studios. So. I don't know. They know what some of them are working on, right? They don't know what everyone.
They're all working on. Well, we only know what a couple of them are working on.
Yeah, so there you go.
We only know what one of the Naughty Dog teams is working on. I mean, so we know that the team that was working on Uncharted 3 is working on the next Uncharted one. Mm-hmm. The one that worked on Uncharted 2, which just released Last of Us.
Yeah.
They're obviously going to be moving on to something we don't know what. Probably another new IP, maybe another Last of Us game. It sold so well, I wouldn't be surprised if they did another one. But yeah, I don't know what I want. I don't know if I want to see it. I kind of want another step, like I saw from God of War 2, and I played the God of War collection, and then immediately played God of War 3, and how seeing that massive difference, and climbing up Gaia,
that's
and
a
that
huge
whole thing.
system leap.
But I don't think it's even possible to see that kind of leap from a God of War 3, because that game still looks great. To go into a God of War 4,
well, apparently it's 10 times more powerful, right? So. But it's not going to be until the end of the life cycle where we're really going to see the differences.
Yeah. So, apparently, although, what's it called? That Order 1886. You guys remember seeing that trailer from 3?
That weird
people are saying that people have seen it. It looks better than the trailer did in gameplay.
Really?
Yeah, which is crazy because that looked like a pre-rendered CG trailer. But I mean, if that's the kind of stuff that we can expect, early, I guess, mid-early level of the life cycle, then we could probably expect to see some pretty amazing things by the end of it. Yeah. Considering how good Last of Us looks.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's last gen, or I don't even know how to call it. Is current gen now PS4, and then last gen is Xbox?
Technically, yeah, right?
I guess.
Well, now you can still call it next gen or whatever.
So because Tomb Raider, for instance,
call it new gen.
no, you can't just come up with a new term.
It's the newest generation.
Yeah. Tomb Raider's being made into next gen.
Yeah, so the definitive. I don't know if did you ever play Tomb Raider
on the computer?
You're
talking about the newest one?
You both played the new one.
I haven't finished it yet.
Now I can just wait for this one.
So yeah, it's being. You don't even have a PS4 yet.
Yeah, but I'm waiting, right?
Yeah. Okay, so it's being re-released, the definitive edition with all the DLC and everything, but it's also coming out with a re-rendered version of Laura with new hair physics and stuff.
Which is already on the PC version.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
every hair moves in the wind.
Every zoom in, every hair follicle. That was a lot of fun. That game. I never finished it.
It's a decent game.
Did you ever finish? Did you finish it?
Must have not been that fun.
It was a lot of fun. It got tedious. I think somewhere in the middle, and I just got distracted by something else.
It got to be a lot of the same. It started off cool, and then it didn't really evolve well. I didn't find
a lot of the combat.
The story was cool.
A lot of the combat was well executed. The exploration was well executed.
Yeah.
But I don't know what. That's another game must have come out because I don't know why I stopped playing.
I think
was it Last of Us maybe?
Last of Us or
Could have been Last of Us that came out. Yeah, that makes sense.
They had the VGAs already.
The VGXs. Why are they called the X's now?
They changed it up. I didn't know they changed it. It's all just an online stream and celebrities and the announcements sucked.
Yeah, there was the
Telltale one.
Yeah, that was it. That was the big one. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I don't really.
The community guy was hosting it though.
Who?
The main character.
Joel McHale?
Yeah. I didn't watch it, I just heard
there's no main character.
You'd say Jeff's the main character.
I guess.
He's the main character.
Because it starts with his story going through college, I guess.
Yeah, and Grand Theft Auto won Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean that's nuts. I mean, I never really consider the VGXs or VGAs or whatever to be the definitive. Like,
I did towards the end, like when they had Red Dead Redemption one game of the year.
No, that game was amazing. Imagine a next Red Dead Redemption.
Then they had like performances of the guy who did the music in the game, so I thought they were gonna get the guy from Last of Us to play
some sort of like music, guitar.
That'd be pretty cool.
All I care about is the next gen Mass Effect.
Well, we're probably gonna hear about that next year. Mm-hmm. So in 2014, we'll start hearing stuff about what
because they're working on something.
Yeah,
they've said they have.
So did you see the video that they released on N7 Day?
No.
So November 7th.
Wait, oh yeah, is it just all the like the voice actors just saying what they?
Yeah, they're just talking about.
Yeah, I did see that.
So rumor is it that the next news will be early next year about what that game will be, and we already know what the game will be. It's going to be another Mass Effect game. Mm-hmm. We could assume it'll be another action RPG set in a sci-fi universe, but we don't know.
What's not clear is when and who.
But the timeline
we know that it won't be
Shepard.
Yeah, we know it's not Shepard. Yeah.
But the timeline is huge, so it could be any time.
It literally is hundreds of thousands of years, trillions of years. Well,
they can make up a story that.
Well, how long is the phase in between each time the Reapers come?
Yeah, it's not trillions.
Okay, I don't know how long it was.
50,000 years per cycle.
Yeah.
But the universe is only 14 billion.
And they can make they can make a huge story that like is just like a huge like of importance or whatever that.
It might not even have anything to do with the Reapers, though. It could be like the first Contact Wars when the humans first found them.
Or it could be like a Halo Reach type thing where it's like a secret mission that happened that
made something possible. That would make it more epic. It would be like
that made something possible for the trilogy we have now.
And there's a lot of that kind of stuff happening. That's what the multiplayer Mass Effect 3 is kind of. You're doing a bunch of little spec ops missions that help you get your theater of war prepared for the final assault.
It could be like a mission that like prevented like Earth from being destroyed earlier on or something. Yeah. Which ended up being the savior, like the.
I'm still holding out hope that the whole indoctrination theory is true.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, because that ending.
I'm still not comfortable with that.
The only thing though, like with that game, you want it to be sort of the same format. You don't want to be stuck on Earth the entire game. You want to be able to explore the galaxy.
No, I mean sure, but I mean if the story's. You could say that, but if the story's intriguing enough and that the gameplay is good enough, then I'd be okay with it.
You don't want to be stuck on Earth during the Reaper invasion, because that's very...
No, not during that time, but... Because everything would just be great and shitty the whole time.
Leading up to it, for sure. There'd be a lot of political stuff going on. I don't know,
I don't know. It can be done. There's like we said, there's a very large
The problem
swath.
with this, it's the same we talked about earlier with the Game of Thrones thing. The most interesting story is the Shepard story. There's a lot of other cool stuff, but you're not
you say that, but those other stories haven't been written yet, so we don't know what those things.
Why is it so interesting too? Because he doesn't really have an origin story. You make it up on your own. It's not really touched.
No. But he's the savior of the galaxy. He goes and he's the one actually leading. Everybody, all the people, all the admirals and everything refer to him as that guy. He's their main guy. He's your Superman. You don't.
Yeah, I know, I get it. It's like, why do you wouldn't want to watch a Lois Lane movie?
I mean, it could be cool, and you would be playing as this character, and you'd get news about how Shepard's fight is going and stuff like that. I'll still.
I would be surprised if it's set during the same time period as the original trilogy. That would be surprising.
And it could be something like I don't know why I keep mentioning Halo Reach, but it could be something like that where it's like a team thing.
Yeah.
Not just the main character.
Halo Reach people liked.
And that's what RPGs are. A lot of are you playing Knights of the Old Republic yet?
No, I'm.
Because a lot of what Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire and those earlier BioWare RPGs are about are building your team.
Yeah.
Mass Effect is too, to a certain extent, but it's not quite the same.
Well, we know that BioWare is also working on another Star Wars game, right?
Man, KOTOR 3.
Well, then
I care more.
Here's the thing. Okay, so KOTOR 1 and 2 are their own thing, and then BioWare came out and said that Star Wars: The Old Republic was supposed to be KOTOR 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
Because that's how much content or whatever there was supposed to be in that.
Okay, but screw it and just.
You gotta play that game, man.
I feel like you would really like that.
I'm scared to get involved in MMOs.
I don't know if you can.
I don't want to get taken over by an MMO. I don't want to get too involved with it.
It's true.
But also, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 aren't really even connected very much.
Okay, here's the thing. I know how much you love. Everyone loves those games, and I've said this on this whole thing before, is that the Old Republic to me is not interesting.
Why?
As a
Why?
time period.
That makes no sense.
Because everything is the same there.
You have
Why is 1,000 years earlier the exact same as 1,000 years in the future? It makes no sense to me, and that's why I don't like. That one thing takes me out of it all.
That's stupid. You haven't even given it a chance. You're judging it based on that one.
Yeah, but because it's supposed to be the Old Republic, things should be different.
Things are different.
Yeah, but
Somewhat,
bored.
like it's there's still droids, there's still lightsabers.
Exactly. So what's different? Everyone still flies spaceships. The only thing is different is that the Jedi Order is at it's high.
Well, that's the way that the Star Wars universe goes. It's the Sith and the Jedi are in a constant struggle for battle, and while they wage war, the technology is destroyed. Like whole
but is it
planets and systems are
more
destroyed.
interesting when the Jedi are like, extinct almost?
Yeah, like,
they're
I will-
fighting-
Well, you're just used to that because that's what it is.
Yeah, but
Well,
that's
no,
more
it's
interesting
not,
because
because
the
in the prequels
good
it's
is
not.
fighting to be to come back, right? Whereas back then they're already up there and they're just defending themselves.
yeah.
So it's the rise of the Sith, but we watched this again. We watched that episodes 3, 4, and 5 are the rise of the Sith.
Yeah.
So it's like, why do we? It's the same
Well, it's not
themes
it's not,
being
okay.
played.
It's the same
here.
concept, but it's not the same story.
It's the same. Everything's the same, and it's the same themes with the same types
You're
of
saying that
characters.
without having actually experienced this. It's not the same. I'm telling you, it's not the same.
Okay, yeah. From what I've seen, that's what it. Everything
No,
from what I've seen is
from
what
what
it's
you've heard. You know that it's set 1,000 years earlier. I think it's 2,000 years before the events of the Star Wars trilogy, and yeah, there's some of the same technology. There's also vibro swords and stuff like that.
like. Vibro swords are in the right.
They're in what?
current stuff now too.
In the Clone Wars now.
In the
They
Clone
weren't
Wars
in-
stuff, they had those droids with the
vibro swords
beam.
were invented for Old Republic. Like that's what that came from, right? Like they did try to address it, but like nobody's gonna let you play a Star Wars game if you can't use a lightsaber.
No, I get that.
And you
I
can't fly a spaceship.
I get that. I understand that, but then why? Then I don't want to see one set in the Old Republic. Just set it.
Why not?
Set it in the current Star Wars time.
Okay,
Current,
but
as I said long time
but
ago.
it's
whatever.
not things like the political and the planets are not the same.
The planets are the same.
The planets are the same. But
Coruscant's the same.
The situation on the planets is different. Like there's different political leaders in charge. It's there's all this stuff, like all the expanded universe. There's so much about Exar Kun and all the old Sith. It's so much fresher in this universe. There's a lot of cool stuff like that.
I get what you're saying. You could tell different stories because you have different characters, and there's the same themes because it's the same universe. But if you want to tell new stories, just continue the stories you already have. That's more interesting to me with new characters because we don't have anything past 6 yet, so just keep making new stories set in this current time with new characters.
Okay, but that's not as interesting to some people. Some people want stories set back then when the Jedi were at a peak and there's still a creeping darkness. Like everything set after 6, after the fall of the Empire, is kind of like a ragtag. Like they're trying to rebuild the
How
order.
do you know? Yeah, how do you know?
In the books, that's what it is. They're trying to rebuild the Jedi Order, but everything, like the infrastructure is not there anymore, and it's not quite the same. Whereas these ones are set at a peak period for the Republic in general.
Okay, well,
They're cool. They're cool, and it's more Star Wars. They're cool stories. Don't let the fact that they're 2,000 years.
like I said,
earlier-
I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, I've said this in the past. I'm game for more Star Wars at any time.
Yeah. And it's definitely worthwhile to play Knights of the Old Pokemon. The second one, whatever. The first one is awesome.
Okay, and yeah, it's available for the iPad and I think now the iPhone too. So, not the iPhone 2, that doesn't exist, but the iPhone as well. Smash Bros. You guys remember that Smash Bros. Brawl mod that we played called Project M?
I never played it.
You did, and I beat you 3 times in a row.
So anyway,
That seems broken.
it had a big update, and they added a whole bunch of characters and different skins and modes and stuff. So Samus is now in there. Zero Suit
Roy
Samus
is
back.
in there,
Yeah,
too.
Roy. So they've added a whole bunch of different stuff. I haven't played it since we played that the last.
You have to
while ago.
download it again, right?
Yeah, you have to put it on an SD card and have a modded Wii or.
But it's worth it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of. If you were a fan of Melee and you didn't like Brawl because it was too slow or floaty, that fixed all that and the game.
It looks like Brawl, but plays like Melee.
Yeah, which is I think what everyone wants from the next Smash Bros. I don't know if I'll ever buy a Wii U. Only for
I
Smash
will. When that
Bros.
game comes out, I will.
For Smash Bros. And there'll be a couple other titles. Not a lot.
I still want to play Super Mario 3D World. Did you play that one yet?
The
New Mario
latest
game?
3D Mario.
It's out, man. It's good.
No, I haven't.
It's getting really good reviews.
Yeah, you should go
You
play.
can play it like
If you have it,
you can
Wii
play as
U,
all
which
four
almost no one
Toad,
does.
Peach, and Luke, like it's like all co-op.
Yeah, I know.
So you can have fun with your
I have the other
siblings.
Mario one for the Wii U. It's not bad.
This one apparently is really good. So
I'm getting a little bored of the new Super Mario Bros. Thing.
There's fun. There's
Here's your
fun
answer
Mario
with this
games.
one.
Yeah, well, I
This is like Super Mario 64 and Galaxy, like mixed.
yeah, and a little bit of Super Mario 2
and
there.
and then the
That's
side
the cool
one.
upside.
Yeah,
It's like all 3 of them in the mix.
nice. I think it's probably really good.
Yeah.
You got the way that they keep making these games so good is beyond me. Like, how can you keep making great Mario games? it like at some point like
how can you be that creative?
And people don't even like. We talked about this before. People don't even like the water one. Whatever that was.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
That game is
awesome.
one of my favorite Mario games.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Really
I
challenging.
like
Think
that
with
game
that.
a lot. Yeah.
And they'll clean everything.
That's not what sells me on the game.
No, I just remember like that.
The ending levels are so hard. I remember.
Yeah. That
Trying
wasn't
to-
hard. It was
Trying to
fun.
float around the lava and like you use your gun to
Yeah,
like, kind of
and
propel yourself.
that level. What was it? It was like tubes you go into, and they'd just be like geometrical shapes, kind of like what. It was kind of like a precursor to what Galaxy became. But those were super hard
There's a few
and
levels
fun.
like that actually.
Yeah. But yeah, good memories with the. I don't think they'll ever release Galaxy again, or not Galaxy. Sorry, Sunshine again. They kind of don't.
What do you
like
mean
talking
release
about
it?
Like re-release it, like have it download, be available for download. or
Like
something.
Mario 64 that's happened a few times.
Yeah.
A lot of times. The
like-
DS being the best version.
You think?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
20 new stars.
You can play as
You
Yoshi.
play as Yoshi, Luigi, and Wario.
Mm-hmm.
Updated
Wario
graphics.
too.
Yeah.
You know, is there any other game where you playable as Wario except for Mario Party games?
Well,
Tennis?
Wario World on
Like,
GameCube.
he has his own games, but
What? Is
Wario World on GameCube. Yeah.
You have an actual game?
Yeah. An adventure game.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
I'm looking this up right now.
I rented it
Wario World?
because I used to play with the Wario games on Game Boy Color.
Oh,
Used to have those.
really? I thought it was a fairly recent like
Oh
invention.
man, it's like he's on the cover with like a bunch of treasure around him.
Oh no! Oh yes, Wario World. That's okay. Yeah, that's
good.
right. I remember that. You know, no. Okay, so it's Waluigi never had his.
Yeah,
own.
no,
Yeah,
he's
Okay, that's what. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense then. Whew.
but Wario was invented a long time ago. apparently.
Yes, because I remember. Actually, I remember those games. Those were, yeah, it was weird. He's got the upside down M with the.
it's the W.
Not as weird as Waluigi because that makes no sense.
Because like Wario makes sense. You just flip the
Yeah.
M.
Yeah.
But then Waluigi. Is it an upside down L on his hat
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Which makes okay. Everyone else has their letter on theirs, but his is just an upside down L.
They released that Zelda game for 3DS too, A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah, and it's been getting really good reviews as well.
I haven't got it yet, but
Like amazing like reviews. I was saying it's one of the best like Zelda games.
yeah.
Very reminiscent of A Link to the Past, which was probably one of my first Zelda. Probably the first Zelda game I played.
That's like the other than Ocarina of Time. That's like the best one.
Yeah, when I think of when I think of Legend of Zelda, I think of
Yeah, most people
those.
like older than us will think of Link to the Past.
Yeah, and then
Our generation is Ocarina.
yeah, and then another memory for me is Wind Waker was another
Yeah.
huge like at like a time where I was.
And there's
really
another
into
reason why
games.
you should get a Wii U because they remade it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I'll ever want to replay the whole game.
Well,
Even if it's just for Smash Bros, you want a Wii U if they have Smash Bros online that works.
And by then it'll probably be like half the price as it is now, right?
Yeah.
You know?
who knows if it works though?
yeah, and if enough people are gonna play it.
And then plus Mario Kart's coming out.
People will play it. There'll be enough people to play it.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna get it for sure.
Is it 8? Is that the one that is it Mario Kart 8 that they're releasing for?
I don't think
Apparently it's their
8.
best-selling franchise, by the way. is
Yeah,
Mario
yeah.
Kart.
Yeah,
Makes
it's
sense.
huge. It's gigantic.
And then that's why everyone's tried to copy. I said there's been so many like
Diddy Kong Racing was pretty sweet.
I don't know how sweet it
64.
really
It was
was.
pretty
So
sweet.
there's a lot of good cases of why it's better, but I never
Better
got
than
into
Mario
it.
Mario Kart 64.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
and I
was
guess
like,
it's probably
It wasn't like a straight up racing game. It was like an adventure game where you
yeah.
like
You go
went
around like
and
the
did
island
stuff.
and you have to yeah.
Plus
I
you had
remember,
the hovercrafts and the boats or whatever.
And they added boats. Didn't they add not boats? I think they added flying to
Yeah, there's flying. Yeah.
in Mario Kart.
Yeah, they added like gliding,
Yeah. Okay.
motorcycles, all that stuff.
I want them to do another Double Dash.
Yeah, I remember I hated that idea when they first came out with it,
It was sweet though.
but it was it was pretty fun.
So could you? I don't remember. Could you put any two characters, or did it have to be like?
Yeah, any two characters. But if you had like a big character like Bowser,
They
you
had to go in
couldn't,
a big
have, you
cart.
couldn't have a big small cart.
Okay.
And then you can actually link up like 4 GameCubes with like some sort of adapter you can put
Yeah.
into one of the empty spaces underneath,
Yeah.
and then have like 16 players, 2 people a cart.
I remember that I had a really good time with that
Yeah,
game.
because you both had to press Z, I guess,
Yeah.
to switch to driving or
Yeah.
items.
Yeah.
So you
Because
both
you could each
like,
one have an item, and you could like switch in,
Yeah.
switch it in and
so, like,
throw
you
it.
could use the items because you could be good at it by aiming it, but the person driving would have to be steady
Yeah.
for you to aim it.
But yeah, it
Plus
was.
the levels are amazing in that game.
I remember like that. the giant cannon with the going down the mountain.
DK Mountain.
That was a fun one.
It's like a Toad island with the bridge and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I remember Toad's cart was the coolest because it looked most like the classic carts.
Yeah.
And Toad was just fun because he was like small and like quick.
Yeah. In the Mario Kart 7, they brought back a lot of those levels.
Really?
Yeah.
I just haven't played Mario Kart in a while. And did I play it? I played it on the DS and I was like, this is the
best
most...
game ever.
I've never had so much fun in my life!
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll just finish this off. Okay, so comics. Batman, number 28.
No, wait, have we talked about Batman number 24 and 25?
Which ones were those ones?
The end of the year 0.
Oh, the first part of Year Zero? Where you
End
put
of
like... No, because Year Zero is 3 parts. There's... The first part is when he finally gets puts the cowl on.
Yeah, that's the best. That's number 24.
Yeah, and then the second part's Dark City, and then the third part's another one.
Yeah.
And then it's
I read those the other day, or like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, I guess. Really good.
Yeah, and he's
The
sitting.
art is amazing.
I know, and he's sitting there, and he's got looking at the statue of his dad, and the bat flies in. They have very much.
And the Joker's origin story.
What? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
Red
right.
Hood
The whole fight with how. Man, you need to read it.
It's like I was playing
I have
Arkham Origins and reading that at the same time. It was like the exact same story. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, almost. It's
Well,
a little bit
not
different.
exactly, but just him falling into the pit and becoming the Joker and stuff.
Which is where the whole discussion about me and Dan talked about length of cowls, like ears, and how because in the 0 year, his ears are longer, and he was the artist was talking about whether he preferred it, and he thought I've talked about this already, but he thought it's just impractical to have really long ears.
Yeah. And then the artist Greg Capello or whatever, he looks a lot like his drawings look a lot like Frank Miller's now.
They have a closeness.
He took inspiration from him, how his cowl looks, how kind of squarish or whatever. But these last issues, man, holy crap!
Well, the last ones after that haven't been as exciting.
Not that good. But 20, it's 23, 24, 25.
When you first speak, before that, he just has a balaclava on and
yeah. But man, the art, the coloring.
Yeah, no,
it's the colors in it.
That. There's that one panel where the Red Hood blows up the building and they're walking down the street. You know the one exactly I'm talking about. And it's there's just fire behind them and it's just chaos. It's very very.
Usually coloring doesn't really get me or whatever, but those issues.
Well, it does.
Really
it does. It actually, I know it has because you talk about it in Green Lantern all the time.
Yeah, but that one's just a colorful book. This one was I don't know, something about it.
Coloring is key because you could have those same colors muted in Green Lantern and it's not the same.
Yeah.
And good colors can make or break a book, and it just people just don't recognize the name of colorists like they do artists. It's just not the same.
Okay,
read 19
so,
to 25.
Okay, I haven't read comics in a while. I'm done school now. I think the last thing I remember reading was the Death and the Family stuff.
Okay, so
what's my priorities right now?
So did you actually finish Death of the Family?
Yeah.
Okay, so Death of the Family leads into 0 year, doesn't it?
Yeah, but there's a couple
intermediate.
There's one issue I think that is a character, a girl character.
Yeah.
That helps him in the city or whatever. Mm-hmm. Isn't she a big character now or something?
It's hinted at that she might be the next Nightwing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because I bought that issue. I'm glad I have it because it's
Yeah, no, it's a new girl character that they introduced because they got rid of a couple of the other female Bat characters. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what her name is. Harper Row.
Yeah, Harper Row. She's basically like Oracle or whatever. She's trying to help Batman improve herself, but she's very weird.
She's got a gay brother and he sticks up for him.
Oh, yes, you need to read the 0 year. For sure. For sure. And then Forever Evil, yes.
Okay, well, no. You need to read Trinity War and then Forever Evil, which isn't even over yet.
And it's not even that hard, man. Trinity War's only 6 issues?
I think it's 8 issues. But either it's and
it goes to Justice League Dark, which you like, and all that stuff. It's really.
It's got
John
Constantine got.
He didn't like it as much because he read it kind of separately, whereas I waited like you kind of and read them all at once in one sitting.
I would, if I could go back, I would have done it that way. But it's hard for me to have time. I just want to read the book.
And I just didn't have time at the time.
I find with comics that if I read the story as a collected whole, it's so much better. Yeah. But it's just so disjointed reading a book.
You'll forget
a 30-page book once a month. It's like
it is. It's a weird way
that's how you're reading telling a story. It's just
and also
odd.
with all the tie-ins that makes it even more disjointed because it's telling a bunch of different stories randomly. So it's this one's out this week and then it's not.
A lot of the time, you know what the main story thread is, and if it's a really interesting concept, you'll read different tie-ins with with titles. For instance, with Forever Evil, there's a lot of different tie-ins going on.
Yeah, but it's not crazy tie-ins. You just
it just affects the whole universe.
Titles.
Yeah, it's affecting the whole universe, so it's reflected in different.
Like you don't need to read like Penguin number 14 or whatever. Like
no, I get a lot of those.
Just the Justice League titles.
Some of them are really good. Some
Dark America and the regular one.
Yeah, no, like right now, have you caught up with Forever Evil? Like there's some, it's like that when Forever Evil happened and like the end of Trinity War, like the actual Forever Evil story, like main book called Forever Evil is really good. Yeah. The Justice League books that are the closest ties to that have been really good.
So and that's like the main Batman and main Justice League. What about Green Lantern? Is it?
Green Lantern after the main run has been good. I just haven't been following with it.
Yeah. There's a couple issues you didn't buy, so.
And then X-Men or no?
X-Men. There's so many.
All new X-Men is what I'm saying.
So all new X-Men is good. I don't have the money to buy every comic. I know that they did that,
and they're far now. They're in like the late 20s.
They did their because they come out like once a month. It's like you can't keep up with it. So I'm not complaining that they don't. They release them then they don't release them enough. But like, I just would prefer, I guess, to buy things in trade more often.
Yeah.
But
then you just gotta be patient.
I really like. Not Forever Evil. Yeah, I do like that too. But I do really like All New X-Men. I've talked about that before. They're doing the Children of the Atom, like you mentioned. Yeah. That's really interesting. That talks about it has the future X-Men, the past X-Men, the present X-Men. Mm-hmm. There's just so many X-Men books at Marvel right now that it's hard to know which ones.
They're making more too. So
yeah, so
it's like Batman.
Yeah, there's a part of the story they're releasing. They're doing two. I think we talked about before. Batman Eternal, which is a weekly Batman book that they'll be doing, which talks about Batman through the ages. Mm-hmm. And then there's another book that they just announced called Future's End, which is going to be teased in Batman 28, which we'll talk about, is set, I think, in the future of the DC universe, after the events of Forever Evil and what's happening in that time. And that's and then they're delaying the very last issue of Zero Year. And this is going to have Batman Beyond, the first like in continuity version of Batman Beyond. We don't know if it's Terry McGinnis, like from the animated series, or what. They haven't talked about that yet. Maybe it's what's his name, the son of Damien. Oh yeah. So that there's different theories that people are going around. I hope it's Terry McGinnis because that whole stuff is really cool.
It's already been fleshed out.
Yeah.
The name's like famous, I guess.
With people who are fans of that stuff. But yeah, I mean.
When you read your comics, what do you read them on?
My Mac.
Laptop. Okay. Do you prefer hard copy?
Do you read like the full page at once? I have a hard time.
No, like the guided view thing. You just press next.
Do you prefer hard copy or no?
Not for single issues, for trades, yeah. But I don't like reading. Like they're so delicate. Like I always feel like I'm going to rip it. I want to be really careful.
Don't read my stuff, but all the hard copies you want to read those instead.
Of what?
Of everything.
Hard copy of every. I guess yeah. No, yeah, I don't prefer. I prefer. I've talked about this before as well. I prefer to read single issues on my iPad. Mm-hmm. And
it's weird though. Have trades with Zero Year, it's like they use different paper and different covers. It's like harder.
Oh, it's got like shiny. It's got a texture to it.
Yeah, it was like the Flashpoint ones. Do you remember those?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Because I don't go to the store. I don't go to the comic book store enough. I'll probably spend too much money. There's there's other things there.
No, I go every once in a while. I just don't even look at the Marvel section anymore. Like, I can't do it.
It's tough if you get invested in one. To be invested in both equally because it just costs too much money. You don't have unlimited funds.
I did Flashpoint and Fear Itself.
And Fear Itself wasn't even a good one.
It wasn't even a good one, and there was like 200 tie-ins or something.
Yeah, something stupid.
And
they're doing right now. They're doing Infinity, which is deals with the Infinity Gauntlet and all that stuff.
What we talked about before is how the Marvel are kind of really incorporating their movie. Universe. So I kind of don't really care about what they're doing in the comics right now.
You can just go see it in the movies.
Yeah, and it's like I just want to see these writers come up with their own stories and just.
Well, they obviously are doing that. They're doing that as well.
But it's not as
it seems
organic.
Like it seems like it's being pulled in a direction. Yeah. Write about this character. Use this villain.
Where it's like I feel these characters are actually growing from what they started out to being. You know what I mean?
At New 50,
and they're
New
fresh.
52.
Yeah. Whereas Marvel, it's not my thing right now.
I think the best thing that's happened in comics was New 52 is in years and years and years. I don't think
they reminded them of where they came from and they're sticking to it.
I think it makes
fresh,
like what they did was ingenious. Yeah. Like a lot of people criticize them for
reinventing things and fixing things.
Yeah, like fixing weird change, like making things make more sense.
Yeah. Like, or just even just slightly different and cooler.
And some things aren't as cool. I think I talked about how Mr. Freeze's origin was changed and he becomes less of a sympathetic villain and more just kind of like creepy and crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's not, I don't like that as much, but like Okay, like because
That's always been part of comic
We
books.
still
so things
always
are
have the
reckoned.
Heart of Ice episode.
yeah,
so-
and that's the thing. Nora.
That's him at his core, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to change that.
Well, that was they changed. When they talked. I told
It
you
was
guys
about
what
his
it
mother.
is.
It was
So
about
you
his
don't know.
mom.
Yeah, it was. He was talking about that issue was about his mom, but it turns out Nora was never his wife in this new version.
It was just
it
like
was just some girl.
Yeah.
So which is
That's cool. It just
weird.
it makes him more of a villain, though.
Yeah.
Right?
I get the
They're
whole
all
thing.
about villains now.
Yeah, and I think they understand that what DC has that Marvel doesn't have is a very, very fleshed out and an intricate set of
Vast.
of villains that is much more interesting than what they have. I mean, you have Magneto, and I think Magneto is the best example of what a DC villain is in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Very fleshed out, multi-dimensional, can be good and bad at certain times, and then where you have more of that over at DC.
and you understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, and then you have
You can
villains
relate.
like, I mean, everyone has villains like Shocker. It's like, who cares,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like there's just more of those, and they all have those same like accidental origins.
They're more like the Flash's rogues kind of Marvel villains, I would say.
Even though the Flash now,
I
there's
know, now
villains
they've
now
like,
they
made them way cooler.
yeah, and like they have like this whole moral code and like
Yeah.
how they deal with the Flash and what they will and won't do, which is
Are they just-
plays into Forever.
Like
Evil.
even Mirror Master sounds so dumb at first, but he's actually pretty cool in that.
It's like super powerful when you
Yeah.
really think about it. Like if you could just,
Yeah.
you can come out of any reflective surface.
yeah.
Like-
Sounds very weird, but
I mean, they did it really cool in that Justice League Doom movie where
Yeah.
he like goes into Batman's like rearview mirror, I guess.
when's that War movie coming out?
They come about like they usually come in the spring and the fall. I think usually don't all
Should be pretty soon because they've had a full out trailer. So
That's true. I just don't like that. I just don't like that art style anymore, man. I just want it to change.
no, I agree.
Alright,
But I love getting those
I'm good
movies.
with it.
I want them to do that. Imagine, okay, we talk again.
Jim Lee stuff.
Not even Jim Lee. I want them to do those Arkham movies that they're gonna do. They're doing the ones based on the games
Yeah.
to be done in the same CG as those trailers.
Yeah, that's not gonna
the same
happen for a while.
nuts.
I'd be.
It would cost so much money to do, and it
A
just
lot of
wouldn't be
money.
worth it, I guess. But think about that. I would rather have that as a full-fledged movie and that done in that. You could do
Yeah, but
anything.
what if the PS4 and Xbox One versions look like that and you get to play?
That would be
That's true.
that would be
That's
I
probably
would
what's
be
gonna
dream,
happen.
that'd be a dream come true.
That's the future.
And that's
man.
probably what's going to
It's
happen.
happening.
So.
It's true. I guess computers will continue to evolve until it looks like real.
Until we all download into them.
Oh wow.
Simulations.
That's true, actually. Virtual reality will probably become.
Well, the Oculus
more
Rift is already a thing. It's like
Apparently, there's a
obviously
big issue with the Oculus Rift with the causing like simulation sickness.
Yeah. Again, like people will just get used to that though.
You just get no.
Eventually, yeah, you'll adapt to it.
No.
No, Dan.
People adapt to seasickness. Same thing.
Can you adapt to seasickness?
Yeah, of
if
course
you're
you do.
susceptible to seasickness, can you just?
Yeah, you just get used to it. The human body, we adapt. That's
Okay.
what we're best at. That's
Okay.
why we're the
Alright.
dominant species.
Okay. Unless there's, of course, spiders with wings. We've
Yeah,
gone
oh,
over
yeah,
this.
then we're all fine.
All right, I think we can finally wrap it up. That was a
That was a
that
long
was
one.
a little bit marathon, not a 100-meter dash. That's for sure, But yeah, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We will see you guys again. Like I said, probably after the holidays. If not, you guys will be the first to know. But enjoy your time off because I'm sure you guys all have some, and we'll see you guys again soon.